really stemming from the summer. We all know there was an accident. I've spoken to Elias. He still thinks that Jeff Hardy is responsible for that. So a lot going on, but I really would like to talk about this in further depth.
This is the Credit One Bank One to Watch. Visit GoCreditOne.com. Like ever rewarded.
And speaking of talking about it further depth, we have the man himself, Elias, here.
Crazy how that happens.
Oh, you have a mic on. Cool.
Hey, thank you.
Album on Monday.
Thank you, Brooks. This is great.
How are you feeling tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm looking great. I'm ready for this. And look, I got Jeff Hardy tonight in the ring, right where I want him. On top of that, after I beat him tonight, I got the album coming out tomorrow. Universal Truth. It's a big night for me, but let me break this down. I heard you guys talking. Here's the thing. On top of Jeff ruining my concert last week, the guy, he tried to run me over in a car 4 months ago on Smackdown. I didn't ever in my life.
You know it.
You know what? I know Jeff Hardy is a very woman. But when you come into Houston, when the concert is coming to Houston, when the tour is coming. Yeah, I'm sorry, no, I'm serious. We're touring live again around Houston first stop. Just
wow.
You buying into it, you buying into it just like you're buying into McIntyre winning. Listen, Elias, you know as well as I do. I've known Hardy a long time. He said he didn't do it. He talked about a guy, red hair, red beard. Please.
The attitude from this guy is unbelievable.
First of all, you want to get some yourself one day.
First of all, if you don't like the way Jeff drives, stay off the sidewalk. And second of all, I heard that this may be a rumor or not, that your album is not going to be released. It escaped. Is that true?
Wow. No, how did you come up with that one, man?
Well,
you spent all day thinking that one? So you nailed it.
Hey, you know what I sense? I sense a lot of jealousy. Because there have been a lot of people in wrestling who tried to be musicians before, and they were frauds.
Speaking of which,
The real I wasn't even.
I inspired this guy. My whole career has been an inspiration to me. I was everything
What
that Jeff wanted to be.
Was an inspiration.
Is there a song maybe you could play? I mean,
You trying to give him some personality as well? Everybody's trying.
This one just for Jeff. It goes like this.
This is for Jeff.
Yeah, Jerry, I need you to step him out. Jeff, I see your mug up on a Thunderdome screen. I'm sitting here knowing you're gonna dress like Elias for Halloween. What's the guy's name, Jeff? Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy. I didn't know any better. I think Jeff was Spanish for junkie.
You think it's another hit?
I liked it.
You like that?
Like that.
This has been the Credit One Bank One to Watch. Visit GoCreditOne.com. Like ever rewarded.
All right, well, the Miz and Otis are also embroiled in a legal battle that will be decided tonight when they face off to determine who the rightful owner of that Money in the Bank briefcase is. The trial was held this past Friday night on Smackdown, and JBL was riding over the court. Multiple superstars also took the stand to testify.
That was good.
All rise. Court of Thunderdome is now in session.
In this case, Mr. Rosanna is suing the defendant, Otis, for emotional distress, creating an unsafe work environment, and Money in the Bank negligence.
I think I deserve the Money in the Bank contract because I won the Money in the Bank ladder match. Thank you.
He should be able to cash in that contract anytime he wants. He went straight up.
Did you hear that?
Every single word, player.
Otis, they say he assaults a lot of people. It's hard to put into words the trauma, but it's not necessarily the physical scars, it's the scars
best friend. And while he might not be as educated as some, the big man is sensitive. Liz, you crossed the line. And now that I think about it, I want to beat the crap out of you right now.
I'm supposed to believe that Otis is responsible for emotional distress and creating an unsafe work environment. He's a WWE superstar. That's pretty much a job description. It is established in the contract that the Money in the Bank winner has a full year to cash in. I have absolutely no choice but to rule in favor. The plaintiff, The Miz. You are ordered to appear at WWE Hell in a Cell this week, and you will face The Miz, and the winner will get and keep the Money in the Bank contract. We are adjourned.
Okay, things did not turn out the way Otis had thought at all. And here to help us discuss what we just saw and what's going to happen tonight, we welcome in Miz and Morrison.
Thank you for having us.
Gentlemen, Miz, I'm curious. So I know that JBL was leaning towards ruling in favor of Otis, but there was a last-second switch. There was some evidence presented to him where he decided
piece
to...
of evidence,
And what
Charlie.
was that exactly?
It was a key piece of evidence. User management needed to be put out there. It was put out there. The judge made a incredible, honorable decision.
Think about it this way, Chuck. Here we are. Otis and Tucker are playing chess. We're playing shoots and ladders.
Okay, so you're not going to share what the evidence was.
And it's easy to
This
win
was
shoots
key.
and ladders.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, that didn't make sense. But
If you think about it, I'll go straight to the top.
right, absolutely.
If you know the way, we know the way.
This is everything that's wrong with the legal system in America. You guys have no case. Miz, how in any way do you deserve the briefcase? Otis won the match fair and square. I don't care what evidence you give. It doesn't make sense.
What company do you work for? Do you work for WWE?
I do.
Yes, you do, right?
Yes.
Now, in this company, do you see a person like Otis being the cover child of WWE, representing us in the media all over the world, being a WWE Universal Champion? Let's put it this way. Do you care about your jobs? Yeah, do you care about your jobs? I'm looking after the company. And when I have the Money in the Bank, I'm not going to look at it as a prop. I'm looking at it as something that is important. And I will definitely 100% make sure that when I cash in after I beat Otis, I will be the WWE Champion. I will be the Universal Champion. And guess what? They will be on notice. Everyone is put on notice. Every single superstar. Because if you hold that WWE Universal Championship, I'm the one that's going to take it from you. People are going to tune in to see that.
Ratings.
No one's going to tune in to see Otis. People know he's never going to cash in. This is what we're talking about. We need someone like MCMIC to step up and save this company.
Booker, you know.
Yeah.
You know what? I believe in the finders, keepers, losers, weepers rule. So I agree with you guys. Just to put that out there. All right.
Let's talk about another thing, Booker. Since we have you being a champion, there are many pressures that people don't understand. Most people don't understand that because they've never been a WWE Universal Champion. They don't understand the pressures that come with that. You do, I do, and now everyone else will understand.
No, I totally understand. I respect everything you guys have said. Somebody like Peter, he may not understand. King may not. Jeff, he may not understand. But trust me, the 5-time, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, I understand. I see you guys in the Hall of Fame. I see you guys in the Hall of Fame. I see both of you guys.
Thank you for your time, Morrison. Thank you for your time, and Miz, good luck tonight.
No need for luck.
All right, guys, we are getting the action started here on the kickoff show. The 24/7 championship is up for grabs. So let's send things over to the Raw commentary team for that match right here on the kickoff show. Guys.
Thank you, Charlie. Tom Brooks alongside Byron Saxon and Samoa Joe. Gentlemen, this is a huge night. Not only is he just heard as the Money in the Bank contract at stake, which shows 5 title matches tonight and 3 Hell in a Cell matches.
Oh, you're absolutely right. 3 Hell in a Cell matches where I like to call the great decider of fate. I mean, it's been a long, long time since we've seen this much carnage in one night.
very much looking forward to it, Tom.
Let's get it started right now. Ringside seats here, especially as we get things started here on the Hell in a Cell kickoff show with the 24/7 championship match. The champion, R-Truth, sits to defend against Drew Gulak. Remember the rules of the championship. They must be defending anytime, anywhere, but those rules are suspended while this match is underway. And this is actually the most peaceful portion of the 24/1. So, you gotta get out there first.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yep.
Yeah?
Hey, little Jimmy! Dude! All right, let's talk to him. Little Jimmy, hey, how you doing, buddy? We're cool. Yeah, come here. Let's go, come here. Come here. Yeah. Hey, guy, how you doing? Okay, yeah. High five, that's good. Yeah, let's go, give me another one. Boom! Yeah, real good. Yeah, you know this one? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Oh! Yeah! Little Jimmy, my man. All right, hey, come here, take a seat.
He's so good. What a nice guy, little Jimmy. Straight to danger. And R-Truth all over Drew Gulak for whatever. Gulak just did to little Jimmy. Hey, I don't want to know what just happened to little Jimmy, but R-Truth is making Drew Gulak pay for it. I don't even know if you can explain that. Oh, and down goes Gulak. Truth into the cover, up to the leg, and a kick out.
Yeah, I love this version of R-Truth.
Oh, R-Truth show a 42-time, 24/7 champion. It's astonishing.
You know, when we talk about fighting champions, I mean, obviously Drew McIntyre, he's a front of the pack, but you got to admit, R-Truth, he's making a case here.
Oh, greatest 24/7 champion of all time. So I'm glad you brought up the idea of being a fighting champion. You know, R-Truth, he's won a lot of his 24/7 titles by a lot of hijinks in every place you can imagine in the WWE. But in a conventional match like we're seeing right now, doesn't that favor Drew Gulak?
Oh, it absolutely favors Drew Gulak. Let me explain why. Drew Gulak is a mat technician. And as you're going to have to see right now, this man will put you on the mat, twist you in ways that your body was not meant to be twisted.
Oh, Drew Gulak has not been shy about his distaste for R-Truth and his reign as 24/7 champion. He actually believes that R-Truth tarnishes what it is to be 24/7 champion. Oh, man. Attacking the left leg of Truth. Close to 15 minutes now until the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view event begins streaming live on the WWE Network.
What's up? WWE Hell in a Cell live reactions play-by-play. I'm your host, Encyclopedia of Sports, Cool Hand Luke 96. As always, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Hit that thumbs up button. Share hashtag WWE, hashtag HIAC for Hell in a Cell. Chat questions and comments, super chats, super stickers. Always greatly appreciated as well. Tonight we will have 3 championship Hell in a Cell matches. Bayley will defend her Smackdown Women's Championship against Sasha Banks. We'll have the first ever I Quit Hell in a Cell match as well, with the big dog new Tribal Chief Roman Reigns defending his Universal title against Jey Uso, along with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton battling it out for the WWE Championship, also inside Hell in a Cell. Currently, we have R-Truth on the WWE Hell in a Cell kickoff pre-show, defending his 24/7 championship against Drew Gulak. Only about 5 total matches on the main card. We could have a few matches or even backstage or even in-ring segments for that matter, with promos or interviews of some such nature added into the upcoming pay-per-view. That's probably only going to be about 2.5, 3 hours at the max inside WWE's Thunderdome. Once again, thank you for tuning in and watching. Hit that thumbs up button once more and that red subscribe button down below as well. However, as mentioned with the 3 championship Hell in a Cell matches, we also have a Money in the Bank match this evening at Hell in a Cell. However, it won't be a Money in the Bank ladder match. It'll be Otis, who won this year's Money in the Bank ladder match back in May, climbed the corporate ladder, won this year's Money in the Bank. However, they have not done a damn thing with Otis and the Money in the Bank briefcase ever since. However, tonight, after Law and Otis this past week on Friday Night Smackdown, Judge JBL ruled in the Miz's favor, and we'll get Otis and the Miz in singles competition for the Money in the Bank briefcase tonight at Hell in a Cell. So basically another championship match, because we all know what the Money in the Bank consists of. And if you have Money in the Bank, if you won Money in the Bank, you have at least 1 calendar year to cash in anytime, anywhere on any champion. So Otis and The Miz, along with Elias and Jeff Hardy in singles competition. They've been advertising Elias, Jeff Hardy. We just had R-Truth on the kickoff pre-show panel as well before his match that's currently going on, before it obviously just started against Drew Gulak for the 24/7 title. And then they talked heavily about McIntyre, Orton, the 3rd match in 3 months, the rubber match, if you will, if this in fact will be it for the WWE Championship. R-Truth in the meantime defeats Drew Gulak and retains his 24/7 title on this year's Hell in a Cell kickoff pre-show. However, we got the Lucha House Party, along with Akira Tozawa, trying to go after Drew Gulak, and then chase down R-Truth, of course, as well, as he's back on the kickoff pre-show panel, as, well, now he's being chased through the WWE Thunderdome. As we all know, the WWE 24/7 title, you can win that basically anywhere. And Drew Gulak, for some reason, just said John Cena sucks. Is that a hint of what is yet to come later on tonight or in the near future? Only time will tell. But R-Truth over Drew Gulak, retaining his 24/7 championship. As mentioned, they were discussing McIntyre, Orton. They faced off at SummerSlam. This feud's been going on since midsummer, after Backlash, into the horror show at Extreme Rules. And then they faced off the first time at SummerSlam, the first pay-per-view inside the WWE Thunderdome here in 2020. Hopefully everyone's staying safe. We now have a recap to last week on Monday Night Raw with Retribution and The Fiend Bray Wyatt with Alexa Bliss before the 6-man tag with Retribution and the Hurt Business. We could potentially get that once again at Survivor Series. That'll be the next WWE review. About a month away. That'll be Sunday, November the 22nd now, official. 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That night I'll have live reactions, play-by-play then, so be sure to tune back in. Now, with Survivor Series weekend, don't know at this point in time if in fact we'll have an NXT TakeOver the night before, as usual, but this week on NXT, we'll get Halloween Havoc returning. Be sure to tune back in live right here on YouTube as well this upcoming Wednesday for live reactions, play-by-play of AEW Dynamite with WWE NXT Halloween Havoc. We now have Retribution backstage. Mustafa Ali, the leader of Retribution, was the mystery hacker, of course, now the leader of Retribution. He's cutting a promo backstage inside the WWE Thunderdome for hashtag HIAC, once again, for Hell in a Cell. But depending on if they're going to have this feud continue with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton tonight, yes, very well could be the road match between the Chosen One and the Viper. As mentioned, they faced off SummerSlam, and then they had an ambulance match last month at the Clash of Champions Gold Rush pay-per-view before they'll square off inside the Squared Circle, a Hell in a Cell WWE Championship match. So that should be interesting. They could go either way, honestly. I think everybody's been expecting Orton to win the title, but of course that hasn't happened yet because Drew McIntyre is still a champion, defending once again against Orton this evening at Hell in a Cell. We also have the big dog, your new tribal chief, Roman Reigns, defending his Universal Championship against Jey Uso once again for the second straight pay-per-view as well. They faced off at Clash of Champions. However, he did not bow down to the new tribal chief. He didn't say, hey, you're my tribal chief, but we move on and we're getting another match. And as mentioned, it's going to be the first ever I Quit Hell in a Cell match as we get the 3D graphic for WWE Hell in a Cell on the kickoff pre-show. We're live on the WWE Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching my live reactions play live right here on YouTube. So Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, there's no way in hell Reigns is losing his Universal Championship to Jey Uso. I don't care what pay-per-view it is. It could have been Clash of Champions last month. It can be Hell in a Cell tonight. Survivor Series next month for everyone's sake. However, normally Survivor Series, Battle for Brand Supremacy, of course, now November the 22nd officially, as they announced that earlier on the kickoff pre-show. We will, more than likely, because normally we get champion versus champion in every single feud, every single match. So depending on who wins tonight, it's going to be McIntyre or Orton, more than likely, versus Roman Reigns. But depending on what happens with Otis and The Miz, somebody could cash in, and then, you know, the landscape, of course, could change from now until then, about 4 weeks from WWE Survivor Series. So Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, that's a Hell in a Cell WWE Championship match. We also have Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. That's an I Quit Universal Championship Hell in a Cell match. And then Bayley, along with Sasha Banks, in singles competition for the Smackdown Women's title inside Hell in a Cell as well, along with Otis and The Miz once more. In my opinion, it'd be smart to take the Money in the Bank briefcase off of Otis unless they're going to have him hold on to it until May. And then from now until then, figure out when and who he's going to cash in on. But in the meantime, you can do the same thing with The Miz. And if they reset that full 1 year to cash in your Money in the Bank, and then we still get another Money in the Bank pay-per-view after WrestleMania next year, we could be running around with 2 Money in the Bank holders, as we've had in years past when they've had more than one Money in the Bank ladder match for Raw and SmackDown, and then they insert the women's Money in the Bank ladder match as well over the past few years. But in my opinion, with what's going on with Otis and The Miz, Law and Otis, not Law and Order, it's Law and Otis. You might have heard that music earlier. Of course, don't own any of that by any means. But I would have Miz defeat Otis tonight, and then cash in at some point down the road. But in the meantime, Miz is still side by side with John Morrison, okay, who returned back in January after a hiatus. Of course, he wrestled all around the world, was on a few TV shows, including Survivor. He's back in the WWE. In my opinion, have Miz win tonight, and then you get Heavy Machinery back together, even with Tucker on Monday Night Raw. You either have Otis go to Raw, even after the draft, just recently, over the past few weeks. And we're not going to have another shakeup or a draft probably for another year. So these rosters, they'll be staying put for the time being, unless, of course, they decide to change their minds, as they always like to do. So either have Otis go to Raw or have Tucker come over to SmackDown, and then boost that tag team division up once again with Heavy Machinery, and maybe even put the tag titles on them. Now tonight we don't have a United States Championship match. We don't have an Intercontinental Championship match. We don't even have a Raw or SmackDown Tag Team Championship match for the hell of it. I don't know why they're only having a total, 6 with the kickoff pre-show, if you want to include the 24/7 title match with Archer and Drew Gulak just wrapped up. There's only 5 total matches on the main card that's about to begin at the top of the hour, 7 p.m. Eastern Time here on the East Coast. Thanks once again for tuning in and watching. Now, 3 Hell in a Cell matches, I get that, okay? Now, if they're going to give all 3 of those matches time, half hour, 40, 45 minutes, if not longer, okay. And then the other matches inserted in between. You have your backstage interviews and, all your promos and such, and hype up Survivor Series as usual. Hype up whatever pay-per-views next at Survivor Series in a month. Those are time fillers. It'll all equal out, and it's still going to be about a 2.5 hour, 3 hour pay-per-view tonight for Hell in a Cell 2020. That's October 25th, 2020. Hopefully everyone's staying safe, as mentioned. But have Miz win. Don't have him cash in at any point in the near future. Excuse me. And then have either... It makes sense to have Morrison turn on the Miz. Miz doing everything shucky ducky quack quack for himself. And have Morrison not necessarily turn heel, but turn on Miz, and then have Miz be the heel in the feud. Miz has been a former Money in the Bank winner before, but they need to do something with John Morrison, in my opinion. And, I mean, honestly, I've been saying for months now, they need to split up. I think it was ever since Backlash when Strowman defended the Universal title against Miz and Morrison in a 2-on-1 handicap match when, of course, they were all on SmackDown. Now all 3 on Raw. We could get Strowman, Keith Lee tonight. Maybe we'll see. They faced off on Raw, I believe it was last week, if I'm not mistaken. AJ Styles with the new bodyguard. He might have something planned. Lars Sullivan, too, the freak himself. They might insert him into Hell in a Cell this evening. Hell, we just saw Retribution cut the promo backstage. It seems like them and Bray Wyatt have some beef right now, so we'll see what they do with that story moving forward. You look at the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown with Sami Zayn as your champion. You also have Aleister Black, Daniel Bryan, and Kevin Owens on SmackDown now as well. Daniel Bryan just made a return. Black and Owens drafted over from Raw. I think potentially from now until, we'll say, TLC, and potentially a TLC match, a fatal 4-way with those 4 competitors for the Intercontinental Championship. Even after we just had a triple threat ladder match at Clash of Champions with Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles for the title. And 2 of those 3 are now on Raw with Styles and Hardy, of course, and Sami Zayn staying over on SmackDown. But then even if they don't do a fatal 4-way, Aleister Black has a feud going on right now, it seems like, with Kevin Owens. The history with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, it makes sense. And then even Daniel Bryan, along with Sami Zayn before WrestleMania, and then ending at WrestleMania before Sami was on hiatus due to an injury, and then obviously coming back over the past 2 months now. You could go down that road, but even 2, and they, as we see the Hell in a Cell being loaded, it seems like we're going to get a Hell in a Cell match to kick off the night. Will it be Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton? Will it be Roman Reigns, Jey Uso? Will it be Bayley, Sasha Banks? I have to think the latter. I would think they'd be kicking off the show with Bayley, Sasha for the SmackDown Women's title in Hell in a Cell, but we'll find out here shortly. But you go back to SmackDown on Friday, just not even 48 hours ago yet. Rollins had his match, and it went a very, very long time. Went on for a while. So, honestly, they might have put that on SmackDown because they didn't want to put it on the pay-per-view this evening. But we could get, you know, the feud that's currently going on with the Messiah himself, Seth Rollins, up against Buddy Murphy and Rey Mysterio. But they could hold off, of course, until Survivor Series. And then Rollins with a baby on the way. Congrats to him and Becky Lynch once again. Due in December, I do believe. You know, he could get rid off TV for a little while and then return to Royal Rumble, as we're all thinking. But now, of course, the warning, and then we'll get the then now WWE Forever before the opening video package for WWE Hell in a Cell. I think they need to make up for how this pay-per-view ended last year in the main event with The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Seth Rollins. And then on Halloween last year over in the desert of Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel, of course, then we had The Fiend defeat Seth Rollins before he turned into the Messiah to become your new WWE Universal Champion. At the time, 1 year later, hard to believe everything that's happened. But now the opening video package, and okay, is that The Fiend? Are we getting Firefly Funhouse? Is this The Undertaker? We got some weird-ass music playing as we're looking at a 1970s television. As the cell is being lowered once again. Seeing some previous matches from inside Hell in a Cell. Warning. Alright, this is pretty cool. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. There will be consequences from the tribal chief to Jey Uso this evening. Nowhere to run. See my hell. Hell in a Cell. Bayley versus Sasha Banks. Every step of the way for Bayley and Sasha. Sasha and Bayley finally turned on one another. We got Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre as well. Hell to pay. Welcome to my hell, and welcome to live reactions play of Hell in a Cell live right here on YouTube. Welcome to my hell, WWE Hell in a Cell. We're about ready to paint the WWE Thunderdome red. Whoever's victorious, of course, they're going to go up to heaven. Losers, more so than not hell, but who knows, you could get stuck in purgatory as well. But Hell in a Cell 2020 is now underway. Hashtag WWE, hashtag HIAC for Hell in a Cell. Thank you once again for tuning in and watching my live reactions play-by-play. I'm your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Cool Hand Luke 96. As always, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Hit that thumbs up button once more. Share, chat questions and comments, super chats, super stickers. Always greatly appreciated. And we got Michael Cole and Corey Graves on commentary, so I bet you any money it's going to be Bayley and Sasha Banks for the Smackdown Women's title kicking off Hell in a Cell tonight, as once again the cell is being lowered. So they lowered it to end the kickoff pre-show. They bring it back up, run the video package, cell being lowered once again to kick off the night, as we have 3 championship Hell in a Cell matches this evening. Michael Cole, Corey Graves. It's all about family, and the big dog Roman Reigns, our new tribal chief, and his Universal Championship, it looks like, against Jey Uso in the first match of the night. So instead of Reigns main eventing another pay-per-view since his return, he's going to kick off the night. And then we'll, more so than not, you would think, get Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton in tonight's main event with the Bayley Sasha match somewhere in the middle, along with the Jeff Hardy Elias and Otis Miz Money in the Bank match that I was just discussing a moment ago. And now we'll get the video package hyping up Reigns and Uso once more tonight for the Universal title at Hell in a Cell. There's no way Reigns loses. No way in hell Reigns loses his Universal Championship tonight at Hell in a Cell. No way. Jimmy Uso could come out again like he did. Clash of Champions really didn't get involved by any means, threw in the towel. But since then, they've been dragging this out. You know, we didn't, really know what type of match we'd be getting. And then the stipulation, of course, too. As they're billing it as the first ever I Quit Hell in a Cell match. Now, honestly, I don't even know if an I Quit Hell in a Cell match has ever happened before or not. But the only way to win is by saying I quit. You have to make your opponent say I quit in order to win the championship title this evening. No pinfall, no submission, no disqualification. It's inside Hell in a Cell. And we're about ready to enter the Devil's Playground as we continue to see flashback images of real life, real blood history with Reigns and Jey Uso. That was good the other night on Smackdown. They had Jimmy Uso, of course, wearing his Uso hat, and then the bandana as a mask, as everyone would be calling it in 2020. But he was sitting at the head of the table where Reigns is, of course, normally sitting at, and then we find out it's not Jey Uso, it's Jimmy Uso, and then Jey Uso attacks Reigns from behind in the middle of the ring with a steel chair. But then eventually, after a few minutes, Reigns, of course, stood tall. And like I've said before recently too, normally when you stand tall you lose, but anymore standing tall really doesn't mean a whole lot, doesn't matter. I think Reigns is going to win. Coin flip, they could go either way with McIntyre along with Orton. I honestly believe Bayley is going to retain. They're going to swerve us on that. Everybody thinking Sasha is going to win the championship. I feel like if Sasha wins the title, everyone's going to turn on her, and it's just going to not be good TV. It'll backfire. But we'll see. Here comes Jey Uso. We're inside the WWE Thunderdome. Hell in a Cell. I Quit Universal Championship match. An I Quit Hell in a Cell match for the Universal title once more. So Jey Uso and the big dog, your new tribal chief, our new tribal chief, Roman Reigns, about to kick off the night. I mean, honestly, this feud has been pretty good. People have been bought in, especially with Reigns just returning at SummerSlam, of course, 2 months ago now. Won the Universal title, then a week later, Payback. The Uso feud here really has been his first since returning, because the two people that he beat for the Universal title at Payback are now both on Monday Night Raw, and the Fiend Bray Wyatt and the Monster Among Men Braun Strowman. And Raw Underground is not a thing anymore. They've completely done away with that, at least for the time being. Who knows if they'll go back to it at any point in the future, but we're about to get things underway with Reigns and Uso for the Universal title once more. And we'll get more into Otis and The Miz for the Money in the Bank briefcase. We'll hold that thought, and we'll discuss more on that throughout the night, closer to that match. Now here comes, we can say former big dog, right? I mean, he's still the big dog, but he's the new tribal chief. He's Universal Champion once again. He wrecks everyone and leaves while showing up and winning. Roman Reigns about to defend his Universal Championship. Alongside him is his advocate, his special advisor, an enforcer. Not AA Arn Anderson by any means, but Paul Heyman alongside Roman Reigns. Now, when Reigns returned and then was about to win the Universal title at Payback 2 nights prior on Smackdown, that's when he aligned himself with Paul Heyman. And we've been saying since that it's only a matter of when Brock Lesnar, the Beast himself, does in fact return. Now, if he returns, does he go to Raw? Does he go to SmackDown? Who honestly knows? I mean, Lesnar has history with both current champions on Raw and SmackDown with Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. He hasn't been seen since WrestleMania 36. Since losing to McIntyre, you have Paul Heyman in the middle with Lesnar and Reigns potentially if they do go down that road at any point in the near future. But just keep that in the back of your mind, folks. If in fact we have potentially, something happen during WWE Hell in a Cell this evening. So only time's gonna tell, but excited for tonight, honestly. 3 good Hell in a Cell matches. I mean, we've been expecting Bayley, Sasha Banks for about 10 years at this point. And we're finally going to get Bayley and Sasha for a championship inside Hell in a Cell. Sasha's fought inside Hell in a Cell before. Bayley hasn't, so they say. I can't recall that she has either, so I have to take them up on that. So that match, and that's the only women's match on the night, so maybe they added another women's match with only the 5 matches advertised, already announced. But like I said, you have 3 Hell in a Cell matches. I mean, if they're going to have them play out, half hour, 40, 45 minutes, if not longer, okay, it's going to add up, time's going to equal out, and, we're going to get a 2.5 hour, 3 hour pay-per-view maybe, if not even longer, but 5 matches, it shouldn't be any longer than I think, especially with how the pay-per-view's gone. It's not been any longer than that threshold of time since basically Money in the Bank, since they started shows, of course, with no fans because of the pandemic. We're at the WWE Performance Center. That is now the new Capitol Wrestling Center on the grounds of the WWE PC. That's what they're saying. And we'll have NXT Halloween Havoc this week, so be sure to tune in. But they, of course, ran those shows up until right before SummerSlam, and then 2 nights prior, insert the new WWE Thunderdome, and we've been inside that. Now we're inside Hell in a Cell tonight ever since. So, and it looks like we're going to be inside the WWE Thunderdome for a few more months, which is expected with just how things have gone. But only way to win this match, because it is an I Quit Hell in a Cell match, only way to win, you have to make your opponent say I quit. And there's no way in hell Roman Reigns loses this. He might say I, but he's not going to say I quit. So Jey Uso, along with Roman Reigns, being introduced. Challenger first, Jey Uso, current WWE Universal Champion, the big dog, Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. And Reigns being booed by the virtual audience, the virtual WWE Universe. There's an official in the ring. There's an official now ringside, locking the door to hell So there's not going to be any escape whatsoever for Reigns, Uso, along with Bayley, Sasha, and then McIntyre, Orton. But we're underway. Bell rings. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso inside Hell in a Cell. An I Quit Hell in a Cell match for the Universal Championship once again. Thank you once again as well for tuning in and watching. Like, follow, and subscribe. Thumbs up button, share, chat questions and comments, super chats, super stickers, always greatly appreciated. Now they're talking back and forth, walking in circles in the middle of the ring. And Reigns actually just said I don't think he meant to say I by any means, but he was telling Jey Uso the only way to keep the family intact, basically, is if you bow down to me, say I quit, I'm your tribal chief, and Reigns retains his Universal title. Because, of course, the real-life bloodline with Roman Reigns, the Usos, the Rock's in the mix there as well. There's been some rumors floating around if the Rock's going to make a return, if we get Reigns and the Rock at Mania come March, April. Nice suplex there by Reigns. You also have Nia Jax and Maga in that family with Rikishi, of course, who is the Usos' father. So maybe we get an interference of some sorts by somebody in the bloodline, but who knows? We'll see. Probably not, just because it's kicking off the show, and then two, we had Jimmy Uso, Jay's brother, twin brother, throwing the towel at Clash of Champions. So they don't want to, push the needle any more than they have to, but you never know. It's the WWE, and whatever Vince wants, Vince gets. So hashtag HIAC for Hell in a Cell once more. Reigns actually has his right hand, his right wrist taped up, and his new look, he still wears his Shield pants, but no more Shield vests, no more Shield jacket. It's wreck everyone and leave. It's show up and win for the big dog, our new tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Reigns now with the right hand. No, Uso reverses with a kick, and then Reigns spins him around, and a kick right to the side of the head of the big dog. Uso drops to knee, hits a right hand. Suicide dive right into the cage, the cell, if you will. All it is a larger steel cage with a roof on it. And over the past few years, they changed the color of Hell in a Cell to make it actually look what, of course, we think Hell looks like. And, it's very, very dark and, of course, red with the color scheme. But rather than having Hell in a Cell, the structure at least, just look like a basic steel cage. They expanded ringside. There's probably a good few feet there, so they can fight ringside, but still inside Hell in a Cell. And then, they painted it red, and Jey Uso in the meantime telling Reigns, "You're about to get this work now too." But nonetheless, Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank, TLC, those are the, and there's probably other pay-per-views as well that I'm not thinking of, or matches from what I'm trying to say. Those three I know for sure. Those went from being matches to actual pay-per-views, and then you have those matches at that pay-per-view. With Money in the Bank, it was a Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. And then they came up with the idea, well, hell, we'll just run a pay-per-view by the same name and have that match there. And then the same thing goes for Hell in a Cell. Undertaker's been rumored to be returning. Survivor Series next month, 30 years since the debut of the Dead Man. So maybe go back to Reigns Taker. I mean, they have history, of course, and then they tagged afterwards, after WrestleMania 33, just last summer. That was Extreme Rules in Philly. Taker, Reigns, McIntyre, Shane O'Mac. And you go back to WrestleMania 35 then, too, on the road to Survivor Series next month. If you have both McIntyre and Reigns retain tonight as WWE and Universal Champion, you have a WrestleMania rematch, champion versus champion, non-title match, of course, at Survivor Series a year and a half later. And I mean, that's not really long-term booking, a long-term storyline by any means. It just is the way, you know, it's panning out and how it's happening. Because you look at WWE booking, it could be 10 times better, okay? But they always change their minds. They always do something else. And, I mean, look at Otis and the Money in the Bank briefcase, for God's sakes. Like, they honestly think Otis is going to be able to cash in and win and become a champion and have people actually like him? No. My opinion, at least, no. Everybody has their own opinion, though, so let me know in the comments below what you think. Uso going for another suicide dive. Reigns gets his forearm up, though. So right hand to Jey Uso. But you have Money in the Bank, of course. Hell in a Cell. Reigns off the ropes. Spear. Okay, that looked a little odd, I thought. The camera angle, they switched to the last second on the spear. Reigns went a little high, it looked like, as well on Jey Uso on the spear. But nonetheless, the match continues. The only way to win is to make your opponent say, I quit once more. But Money in the Bank, Hell in a Cell, and then even TLC that we'll get in December, as far as I know at least. Those are the three that come to mind. Like I said, there's probably a few others, but those are the three that come to mind where you have matches turn into actual pay-per-views and then have those matches at that pay-per-view. So we'll regress as Reigns once again stands on top of Jey Uso, talking down to him, making me a bad guy. I think, honestly, Reigns is right now more over as the Tribal Chief, current Universal Champion. Of course, as a heel, but depending on how you look at it, he's sort of both. At this point in time, he is. He's more over, honestly, I think, than he's ever been. Now, is that because there's no actual live fans in attendance? It's all virtually. Yeah, they're piping in crowd noise regardless. Super kick and then a frog splash from Jey Uso. And he can't go for the pin or a submission by any means. He has to get Reigns to say, I quit. And it's no disqualification as well. So for the hell of it, you know, in the meantime, they could bust each other open and be gushing blood. Before one of them says, I quit. Reigns is going to probably have to hit a few spears and a few Superman punches. Another frog splash from Jey Uso. But knowing what they'll end up doing, Reigns is going to hit, he already hit one spear, but he'll hit maybe one or two more, and then maybe a punch or two, and then Jey Uso is going to say, I quit. Like, Reigns isn't going to have to do a whole lot. Even though they need to have him, they should at least have him do more than needed to make him look strong as they possibly can, defeating Jey Uso, and then depending on what they do with Reigns, who they're going to have him go up against moving forward over the next few months, you know, then you go from there. because the Survivor Series, it's champion versus champion. The feuds aren't really anything. It's pointless. But then, you know, TLC, and then you get on to Royal Rumble. Whoever wins the Rumble could, you know, face either WWE or Universal Champion, of course, and then we're on the road to WrestleMania. So, Jey Uso now looking underneath the ring, and it looks like he's got a rope of some sorts. Okay, that is now a strap. Hashtag HIAC for Hell in a Cell. It's trending on social media. Be sure to use that hashtag when you share on social media. So now Jey Uso, yeah, that's a strap of some sorts that you would obviously tie somebody up in. Or, of course, as Jey Uso is about ready to do, slap Roman Reigns across the back with. Jey Uso telling Roman Reigns he's gonna beat the dog shit out of him. So, oh, that one had to hurt. Reigns off the ropes, spear. So Reigns with another spear. Reigns' spear is like the Brock Lesnar F5 or a Brock Lesnar suplex. Jey Uso, I can't move, I can't breathe, yet he's rolling around in the ring. You want to quit, says the ref? No. But Uso telling Reigns is going to beat the dog shit out of him before he gets speared, so who's barking now? See a replay of the last hit and then the spear. And now Reigns with the strap. Boos from the WWE Thunderdome. Of course, who even knows if most of these fans are live right now, or even if the noise that they're making is making it through, or if they're piping in, you know, cheers and boos and what they want to hear as the WWE versus what the WWE Universe wants to tell them. But Reigns with a few slaps to the back with that strap, just as Jey Uso did to him. So Reigns returning the favor. However, Jey Uso stands right up. Their backs are going to be red, just the same color as Hell in a Cell. Now he's trying to tie up Jey Uso's hands with the strap. It's like a dog collar match now. Or actually just ties up one hand and then Reigns holds on to the rest of the strap. Jey Uso laying on his back. Looks like he's going to get slapped right across the stomach. Yeah. God, that has to hurt. Honestly, I think I like Reigns now more than I ever have. Because it's even when part of his look and, you know, how he talks is a little the same. Over the past 2 months since he's returned, it's been fresh. It's not the same old with Roman Reigns. And now, sort of, yeah, this has turned into a strap match. We saw one of those with, I believe it was Daniel Bryan and The Fiend in a pay-per-view within the past year or so. Jey Uso holding on to the middle rope. And then he ends up hitting Reigns with the right hand. Reigns returns one of his own. So yeah, strap match, dog collar match, which we just saw on AEW with Cody Rhodes and Brody Lee, the exalted one himself. Mr. Brody Lee, no longer your AEW TNT champion, unfortunately, but see what happens with AEW Dynamite and that AEW Full Gear a week from Saturday, November the 7th. And then also this week, WWE NXT Halloween Havoc. Halloween Havoc returning for the first time in 2 decades. And now the strap as a weapon for a submission, not that great of a hold, not that tight by the looks of it. He's basically choking Reigns with the strap, pulling him back as he would be with a crossface. And now the ref's asking Reigns if he wants to quit. Reigns will say "I." They'll both say "I," and then once they get to the end before they go home, Reigns actually passes out. Now the ref's gonna raise his hand, but Reigns just like wakes up from a dead sleep. And I'm sure Reigns' face right there is going to be a meme, but he passes out once again, it looks like. Ref's now going to pick up his arm, pick up his hand. And Reigns will lock it halfway down. Okay, Reigns rolling around. Did he quit? Says Jey Uso. No. Reigns has not said "I quit," so this match continues. Jey Uso has not said "I quit," so this match continues. We'll see what else they use as weapons. Saw a strap. I wouldn't expect any ladders. We got steel chair now in the corner. Jey Uso gonna be using a steel chair here, it looks like. And I don't even think anybody grabbed a steel chair. Or did I totally miss that? Or do I just not remember that somebody grabbed a steel chair earlier and set it in the corner? I think somebody actually set that there for them. It might have been the ref while they were doing whatever they were doing. Reigns now trying to get back up to his feet. Jey Uso though with a steel chair. Reigns with Superman punch. Can we call that something else? Can we call it a... Meantime, Reigns putting Uso in a submission. Jey Uso says "I quit," Reigns going to retain. That's how it's going to end, but I don't think so right now, right here. Can we call his Superman punch like... Because he's a big dog, he's a tribal chief. Orange Cassidy has his orange punch that he uses. I have to think on that. I just actually thought of that. I mean, because we're still calling him the big dog, but he's the new tribal chief, of course. You would have thought they'd, have by this point, come up with a new name for Superman punch, because he's not Superman by any means, and by the looks of it, too, he sure as hell ain't Batman either, so. Jey Uso not saying "I quit," says the ref. As Reigns sits up, looks over as if he's sitting on the edge of a bed. Say the words. Say "I quit." Say "I am your tribal chief." You've come this far. You might have paid your dues by now, but I'm still the tribal chief, your tribal chief, and I'm going to beat you. Didn't Reigns just say "I quit"? And then he covered his mouth? Reigns saying "Don't make me do this." Ref asking Jey Uso once more. You gonna say "I quit"? He's just like laying there in the middle of the ring.
Right here, Jay. I'm right here, Jay. All you gotta do is say it. I can end it right here, Jay.
Shut your mouth. He's going to lose.
Reigns telling Paul Heyman and the official, shut your mouth, he's going to learn tonight. As Heyman looks on from outside Hell in a Cell ringside. So what's Reigns going to do now? Reigns with a steel chair. Now they go to the corner, right near the ring post. They're just dragging this out now, even more than what they already needed to. And a drive-by from Reigns on the ring apron. A nice drop kick. All you have to do is say, I quit, Jey Uso, and it's over. I'll say it for you. I think everybody will. But I think everybody would love to have Reigns say, I quit as well. Reigns now, they set of steel steps. He has Jey Uso in the corner. And it looks like Reigns is going to do another drive-by into the steel steps, right into the head of Jey Uso, into the ring post then at that point. And that's exactly what happens. Michael Cole, stop the goddamn match. Say I quit, I'll end it. You know what's going to happen when Jey Uso does say I quit? Reigns is going to hammer into him. It's not going to be over until Reigns says it's over, regardless if Jey Uso says I quit or not. It'll continue after he says I quit. Reigns will continue his attack. Reigns telling Heyman to shut his mouth once again ringside. Reigns now grabbing the official by the back of his neck. And Reigns says, no, you're out, and he throws the ref over the top rope ringside inside Hell in a Cell. And now the other official that locked the door, he's now in the ring. Okay, he slides out. He's ringside. Inside Hell in a Cell, though, but the door's open. And then Postman Pierce, along with a few other backstage producers and officials, they come out to the aid of Jey Uso. Postman Pierce and Pat Buck. Jamie Noble as well. And then Reigns is going to exit the ring. That's what you want to do? Okay, so be it. I'm still Universal Champion. He never said I quit. Well, in the meantime, Reigns is going to shut the door. Still inside Hell in a Cell now. And he's going to throw the steel steps over the top rope into the ring, and that's a botch. Can't even throw the steel steps over the top rope as they hammer back down ringside, and then the second time's a charm. He throws the steel. Postman Pierce, Adam Pierce, now exit the ring. And the steel steps are now in the ring with Jey Uso laying on his back. Reigns gonna set up those steel steps on top of Jey Uso now. Jey Uso still doesn't understand. He's still testing the big dog. All you had to do was acknowledge me, say I'm your tribal chief, but no, and here we are at Hell in a Cell. This is how serious it is. This is how serious it has become. But in all seriousness, it's probably going to get a whole lot more serious and complicated here with the bloodline with Roman Reigns and the Usos. Reigns now with the steel steps. And then here comes Jimmy Uso to his brother's aid. Jimmy Uso now in the ring, telling Reigns to stop, as Jey Uso has not moved. Reigns throws down the steel steps. Jimmy Uso asking Reigns, what is wrong with you? Reigns now starting to tear up, it looks like. As if he did a little too much. And he's upset and regrets. Yeah, now Reigns starting to cry. Obviously, that's a good acting job right there. But okay, that's a gold glove that Roman Reigns is wearing on his right hand. Changing up the color scheme a little bit. Reigns telling the Usos, I'm sorry, as he sits inside a WWE ring at Hell in a Cell tonight, crying his eyes out now. Jimmy Uso extends his hand. We'll see if there's a handshake, and then a turn. Reigns faking everyone out here, maybe. Reigns says he's sorry once again, and then they shake hands. Does this mean the Usos and Reigns are now a little faction? No. And we're going to have Reigns put Jimmy Uso now in a submission as he tries to hold on to his brother. Reigns has him in a headlock. Jimmy Uso trying to get Jey Uso back up. And after all this match is still on. Nobody has said I quit as of yet. And now the bell rings. Jey Uso says, I quit. Jey Uso said, I quit to get Reigns off of Jimmy Uso, out of the submission. Roman Reigns, our new tribal chief, the big dog himself, retains his Universal Championship tonight at Hell in a Cell. Reigns' music hits. They start to raise the cage, raise the cell back into the sky. Roman Reigns victorious, still Universal Champion. We'll have to see if they do any more with this moving forward or not. I think the time would... their time has come to an end in this feud for the time being. So I'd end it. I'd have them all move on and do whatever they're going to do. Of course, it makes Reigns look strong with what he did, and that's what they wanted. So, end of story. And more so than not, probably the end of this feud, as mentioned, for right now. Unless, of course, they have Reigns do something for Survivor Series, which, you know, it'll be champion versus champion more than likely. But then they could go back to this for TLC before the Royal Rumble. And then you hype up whoever Reigns is going to face at WrestleMania. And then go from there. We'll see.
Championship. And now, look who is on the stage. Roman Reigns' uncle, Alpha, and his father, Sika.
Alpha and Sika are at Hell in a Cell this evening inside the WWE Thunderdome, and it seems like they're going to pass on the crown, the head of the table, to Roman Reigns. And for the Usos, that has to be a little hard to watch. Reigns now officially at the head of the table as Reigns stands in the middle of Alpha and Sika as Paul Heyman hands him his WWE Universal Championship title. Reigns stands tall at the entrance with the championship high in the air as he just made Jey Uso say "I quit" to retain his championship tonight at Hell in a Cell. All hail the tribal chief, our big dog, Roman Reigns.
So intense. You can do it, Miles.
WWE superstars work out here. Wow. Thank you, Miz.
Haters can hate. You stay awesome.
You're right. Thanks, Miz.
You completely crushed it today, man.
Wow. Thank you.
You're the most must-see WWE superstar of all time.
We'd like to extend a special thank you to Holy Rules for Welcome to Hell, an official theme song of WWE Apple Music, and Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, this was moments ago here on the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view conclusion of the Universal Championship.
Now some highlights, a replay of the Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, I Quit Hell in a Cell Universal Championship match. That lasted a good 45 minutes with entrances and then post-match. They involved the officials and backstage producers as well. But Reigns never said I quit. I thought he did there for a second while he was talking to him. He might have. You'd have to go back and watch it and listen very carefully, of course. But I'm sure somebody's already on that. But nonetheless, Reigns never said I quit. Jey Uso did after Reigns attacked Jimmy Uso, after Jimmy Uso came down. And now a replay of Jey Uso saying I quit. So there's proof that Jey Uso said I quit and Reigns is still Universal Champion.
And listen, you can only imagine what went through Jey Uso's mind there. He had no choice. His brother Jimmy was locked up by Roman Reigns. But Joe, how about the scene of Alpha and Sika anointing Roman Reigns at the head of the table?
Well, you say this has to stop something. And obviously there's been distress in the family. And maybe, just maybe, this might cap off a feud that's been doing way too long in the eyes of the unlucky.
More to come tonight here at Hell in a Cell.
Tom Phillips says more to come tonight at Hell in a Cell. And then they pan out and we got an aerial shot of the WWE Thunderdome. But nothing happening. Okay, now here comes Elias. We all know that WWE stands for Walk Elias as he's strumming his guitar and walking down the entrance ramp to the ring as he'll face off versus the charismatic enigma Jeff Hardy tonight at Hell in a Cell. Elias just returned from an injury. He's on Monday Night Raw, currently in a feud with Jeff Hardy, and the match was made official after Raw last week on that Raw Talk. Elias is going to sing us a song. And he's got a new album coming out too, I guess. We got to silence our cell phones, hold your applause, and everybody, we're going to shut our mouths, so I'm going to shut the hell up. We're going to listen to Elias. Elias with a shot to the WWE Thunderdome aspect, the WWE Universe virtually, of course. Jeff Hardy and Elias tonight at Hell in a Cell. Hardy's going to come out and interrupt him here. We all know WWE stands for Walk with Elias. Jeff Hardy equals DUI. Now here comes the charismatic enigma, Jeff Hardy. So nothing new with Elias singing his tunes and then interrupted by whoever the hell is coming out. And tonight it's Jeff Hardy because we've got a singles match coming up next. So Elias, a busy man, he sung 2 songs tonight. One on the kickoff pre-show to Double J Jeff Jarrett, and then also now to Jeff Hardy before this upcoming match. This could go either way, honestly. Jeff Hardy's probably going to win, though. This hasn't been going on for that long, but depending on who they want to push, potentially up against Bobby Lashley for the U.S. title, well, whoever they choose, of course, will probably end up winning this. But who knows? We could have a match tomorrow night with these two too on Raw, just because that's how they run things sometimes.
So here we go, Elias, one-on-one with Jeff Hardy for the first time ever here in WWE. Earlier tonight on the Hell in a Cell kickoff show, Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy addressed this situation with Elias and called it a self-deluded vengeance tour that Elias is pointing fingers at the wrong person.
That's a horrible thing to say. I mean, look at poor Elias. I mean, he's the victim here.
Poor Elias. Elias had an unforgettable concert this past week on Raw. His new album, Universal Truth, comes out tomorrow. There's plenty of fanfare surrounding Elias.
Which brings me to that point. First, Jeff Hardy hits him.
So bell rings, match underway. It's Jeff Hardy versus Elias, if you're just now tuning in. Regular singles match, no championship by any means on the line. Jeff's brother Matt, now on AEW, quick cover 1-2 kick out at 2.5 missionary style. As we talk about Elias just returning, Matt Hardy just returned as well. As mentioned, he's in AEW now. He was injured at All Out Labor Day weekend, and it seems like we'll be getting a match with Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara at AEW Full Gear. As honestly, that's not a bad rematch. They faced off at All Out. That's the match he got injured in, of course, and he was on the shelf for a little while. But cleared to go. He's back. We'll get more into AEW and NXT on Wednesday, so be sure to tune in for those live reactions. Both play live right here on YouTube.
And he's more than a musician. He's an impresario. I mean, that's how he described himself to me.
Elias throws Jeff Hardy ringside through the ropes. Ref Hardy telling Jeff Hardy, hey, hurry the hell up, get back in the ring, and let's go. Elias now going to exit the ring. Elias throwing Jeff Hardy into the barricade. Jeff Hardy reversing course, throwing Elias now into the barricade as well. Drop kick by Jeff Hardy. Now off the steel steps. Elias moves out of the way. Face first goes Jeff Hardy in the top of the barricade. The thing is, for, like the gimmick matches that have turned into pay-per-views, as mentioned earlier, Money in the Bank, Hell in a Cell, and TLC. For Hell in a Cell, all the matches should be inside Hell in a Cell, shouldn't they? I think it makes sense rather than, just have a regular singles match where, one, if it doesn't mean anything, two, it's not, in the structure, unless it absolutely steals the show, it's not going to be, it's not remembered, but especially when you have now 3 Hell in a Cell matches this year versus the normal 2, it just throws it off. It's the aspect of it. It's the look. You would think all the matches would be inside Hell in a Cell, but of course not. Cover 1-2, kick out by Jeff Hardy. First time I'm saying kickouts at 2.5 tonight, because the opening contest was an I Quit Hell in a Cell match, and we didn't have any pinfalls or submissions by any means. Jey Uso ended up saying I quit, and that's how the match ended, because that's the only way to win is to get your opponent to say I quit, of course. And now here, our first singles match with Jeff Hardy and Elias. Now the rest of the matches tonight, they'll be pinfall or submission, unless of course they add in and say, hey, this is an ODQ now, whatever the case may be. Hashtag HIAC, once again for Hell in a Cell, the first letter of each word. Hashtag HIAC for Hell in a Cell this year, inside the WWE Thunderdome for the first time ever. And Tom Phillips brings up Lars Sullivan as the Freak himself. Lars is on Friday Night Smackdown, where Jeff Hardy just was before he got drafted over to Raw. Elias was on SmackDown as well before he got injured, and then he comes back. He's also on Monday Night Raw. Jeff Hardy with a leg drop and then a drop kick. Thank you, Tom Phillips. Cover 1, 2, kick out at 2.5.
And Elias needs to be very, very careful here. This is the kind of momentum he needs to avoid letting Jeff Hardy get too much under him. He was a trainer for Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is calling from WWE Thunderdome, the WWE.
Jeff Hardy going to go for a twist of fate? No. Elias throwing Jeff Hardy into the corner, now picking him up on his shoulders like he's a little kid. And then a power bomb. Jesus Christ. Cover 1, 2. Looked like Jeff Hardy hit his neck pretty hard. See a replay of that. Oh, God.
On display there here at Hell in a Cell inside Thunderdome. You know, for all his musical powers, oftentimes we overlook the absolute powerhouse that is Elias.
Thunderdome, Hell in a Cell. Jeff Hardy now off the top rope. And a whisper in the ear via the wind of Elias, kick out at 2.5. Sunday Night Football about to begin with the Seahawks and Cardinals, so stay tuned for some updates on that game as well. Jeff Hardy now going to go home here, taking his shirt off. Going to go up top. Going to go for a Swanton bomb. However, Elias now laying on the ring apron. Are we going to get a Swanton from Jeff Hardy off the top of the ring post? No. Elias rolls out of the ring. Hey, he's still standing up there. He could jump off of that ringside. No, he's going to jump down. That'd be a little dangerous there, I would think. Elias now with his guitar. Jeff Hardy with his guitar. And then Jeff Hardy with Elias's guitar slams it over the back of the Drifter. Elias is going to win by DQ because Jeff Hardy just disqualified himself with the guitar shot to the back. So Elias with the win, and the guitar really didn't even break. So it looks like Jeff Hardy's going to whack him a little more. No, he's actually just going to stomp on the guitar. And this all began, of course, Elias was having his concert on Raw, and then they stopped and were about ready to restart back up with a different song, and we then find out that Jeff Hardy was, of course, he stepped in, but playing a guitar in Elias's band, and then things escalated from there, of course, and then we just had the match that Elias won by DQ. Elias, your winner by disqualification, with Jeff Hardy hitting him across the back with his guitar. Okay, Miz and Otis coming up next, it looks like, before the final 2 Hell in a Cell championship matches. Law and Otis. All rise. We had John Bradshaw Layfield, good old JBL, as our honor, as our judge. Ron Simmons Damn,
He should be able to cash in that contract.
along with Holla Holla,
He was
we're gonna have a tag team match in the courtroom with Teddy Long typing up everything said. We had a few witnesses as well, with Rey Mysterio, Asuka, John Morrison along with Tucker. So recap with Law and Otis from Smackdown this past week, where we saw Miz hand JBL a briefcase, and then he opened it up and you heard the money noise. So obviously Miz paid off JBL, paid him off to, you know, favor alongside Miz and John Morrison to get the match tonight for the Money in the Bank briefcase. But as I was saying earlier, it'd be best, I think, to have Miz defeat Otis, and then you have Morrison turn on Miz, but have Miz be the heel because he'd be better at it. No offense, John Morrison, by any means. Johnny Money in the Bank, potentially. Miz has already been Mr. Money in the Bank, so he really doesn't need it. But he deserves it more than Otis. They both do, for God's sakes. Hell, I deserve Money in the Bank more than Otis. I think anybody does. No offense to Otis, by any means. But going back to Money in the Bank, I've just thought it was and it has been the wrong decision, because they haven't done a goddamn thing with Otis and the Money in the Bank. You know, stakes and weights, you know, who cares? Like, you honestly think he's going to cash in and win and become champion? No. Damn, says Ron Simmons. Law and Otis, and it looks like we're going to have Miz challenge Otis coming up shortly tonight at Hell in a Cell for the WWE Money in the Bank briefcase. Otis in his heavy machinery gear, Tucker by his side, now being interviewed backstage in that makeshift ring inside the WWE Thunderdome by Caleb Braxton.
Caleb, I'm always telling you this. If you got it, flaunt it.
If you got it, flaunt it. Somebody must have watched Country Strong recently. Maybe Otis and Mandy Rose had a Netflix and chill kind of night. Otis is angry at the Miz. But you have Miz defeat Otis tonight, and then you have Morrison turn on the Miz, have Miz be the heel in that situation then at that point. Awesome. That's what hopefully this match is about to be inside the WWE Thunderdome at Hell in a Cell. Here comes the Miz with John Morrison. But you have Miz and Morrison then feud over Money in the Bank. Long story short, have Morrison win it from the Miz then at that point, and then have John Morrison cash in and become a future world champion. Because Miz honestly doesn't need it. I mean, he does, but he doesn't. You know, better than Otis, but he's been a former Mr. Money in the Bank. And he cashed in on Randy Orton almost The Miz and Otis coming up next at Hell in a Cell for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Are you serious? They're turning trick-or-treating for Halloween into virtual reality now too? An interactive experience for trick-or-treating. Blue-collar working man. Here comes Otis with Tucker. He's got those working man blues, carrying his Money in the Bank briefcase. I mean, because you can even go back to that match, you know, mid-May after WrestleMania. You had AJ Styles in that. You had Daniel Bryan, Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio in that match. Like, come on. Like, just think if AJ or Daniel Bryan had that right now. You know? But at least they're trying to do something with it. This is the, you know, the first step in the right direction, hopefully. But Otis has been Mr. Money in the Bank for 5 months, and they haven't done anything with him. Nothing. They haven't even teased him cashing in, for God's sakes. Okay, they made him miniature Money in the Bank lunch boxes, but he hasn't tried to cash in on anybody. Like, come on. Bell rings, match underway. Miz challenging Otis for the Money in the Bank briefcase. This is actually today's question of the day on social media, so be sure to vote on the polls. Chat questions and comments, always greatly appreciated as well, with super chats and super stickers. You let me know in the comments who you have winning this matchup between Otis and the Miz for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Otis picks up Miz, slams him down. We got Tucker and John Morrison ringside. Or hell, even if you did have Miz win, okay, and Morrison turn, have Morrison be the heel. I mean, the face or the heel. Miz going to go for a skull-crushing finale here early on. And then Miz over the top rope. Long story short, just have Miz and Morrison feud over Money in the Bank. Because it's basically a championship. And then if they reset it, you know, from now until next October, or you have until May to cash it in, you know, who knows? Because what are you going to do with Otis' Money in the Bank? Because you haven't done anything with him as of yet. Like, you're just going to let him keep it and then have it run out, and then he's not going to cash in and not become a champion? Like, that's just pathetic, because you go back to the past few Money in the Bank winners. When they've cashed in, they haven't been able to successfully win a championship. The cash-ins have failed. So they need to figure out what they're doing with Money in the Bank, because it's honestly, beside my opinion, the top titles. As Corey Graves just mentioned, it's one of the most intriguing factors in the WWE. Here comes John Morrison up on the ring apron. Miz now from behind, kicks Otis right in the gut. DDT in the middle of the ring. Cover Miz on Otis. 1, 2, and Otis kicks out at 2.5. But the Money in the Bank could change the landscape of the WWE. You don't know when whoever has Money in the Bank is going to cash in on who they're going to cash in on, for that matter. John Morrison with a right hand to Otis. Ref didn't see it. Tucker trying to get the ref to pay a little more close attention, but now Miz in the corner with some kicks on Otis. Corner to corner. And then Miz going to go up top. Miz with a cover. 1, 2. Otis kicks out at 2.5. Michael Cole and Corey Graves in the meantime cracking up on commentary. Control yourself. Miz now has Otis in a headlock, a sleeper hold. Is he going to make him pass out and that's how he's going to win it? Or are we going to have a skull-crushing finale out of this? Otis down on one knee. Where's Mandy at? Is there a ring nearby? Is he proposing to an invisible person? Is he proposing to the female official right now? Otis now back up on his feet. Throws Miz down. Miz with a big boot right to the face of Otis. Miz with some rights and lefts with the punches and kicks now in the middle of the ring. You suck chants. There's no way in hell there's that many people chanting you suck right now. No way. That's piped in. Miz now with another kick.
trying to fight back, and look at Otis go. That was a hell of a cheerleader, Cole.
Otis starting to dance around.
Very unique now.
Big chop right to the chest of Otis. Is he going to hit the caterpillar?
What would you call that? Inappropriate? Down goes Miz. Otis now with a shoulder tackle.
Off the ropes. Nice shoulder tackle from Otis.
To punish Miz here tonight for running his mouth. Putting Otis through hell.
Another shoulder tackle from Otis to the Miz. He rips his shirt off. Miz off the ropes. Difficulties. Bear with me with the buffering, disconnect, and reconnect. But Otis was going for the caterpillar, and then Morrison dragged Miz ringside, and then it looked like they were about ready to fight ringside, but now we're back in the ring. Not a whole lot happened there in the meantime. Morrison now with the Money in the Bank briefcase, about to hit Otis with it. The ref saw him at the last second, but John Morrison with a clean-shaven look just got thrown out by the official. Tucker telling John Morrison to get the hell out now, too. Otis from behind on the Miz in the ring. John Morrison just got thrown out. Quick roll up. 1, 2. Kick out at 2.5 by the Miz. And a big clothesline by Otis. Cover on Miz. 1, 2. And kick out at 2.5 once again. That was close. I thought that was 3. And Tucker just accidentally hit Otis with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Tucker turning on Otis. Tucker is handing Miz the Money in the Bank briefcase by turning on Otis. Miz cover on Otis. 1, 2, 3. Miz is your new Mr. Money in the Bank. Thank God. Thank you. Finally, you're going to do something with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Miz is once again your new Mr. Money in the Bank. He's won it before. He successfully cashed in. He's been a WWE champion because of it. Miz is new Mr. Money in the Bank here in 2020 tonight at Hell in a Cell. And it seems like now they'll finally do something with it. Whether Miz is going to cash in and become champion tonight against McIntyre, Orton, we already saw Reigns and Jey Uso. Miz is on Raw, so it's going to be for the WWE title at some point. Or does Morrison now turn on the Miz, and do they feud, as mentioned, for the Money in the Bank briefcase, which I would think would be the best option, the best route to go, because then you do something with John Morrison. But then maybe if you wait until Miz becomes champion at some point, whenever that's going to be, if it's going to be from now until May, the year that Otis had, and then losing it, or if they're going to reset the clock and have Miz have it for a full year, unless he catches in, of course, in the meantime, from now until next October. And then, as mentioned earlier, have another Money in the Bank after WrestleMania next year, and then you have 2 Money in the Bank winners walking around, not knowing who the hell is going to be cashing in on who whenever, they feel like it. Otis just lost his Money in the Bank briefcase. Tucker, after Morrison got thrown out, seconds later, hitting Otis with the Money in the Bank briefcase in the middle of the ropes, and then Miz with the cover. 1, 2, 3. So Miz, your new WWE Money in the Bank winner, holder, champion, however you want to put it. Miz is your new Mr. Money in the Bank, long story short. So, good for the Miz. And his Browns just won earlier today, too, so he's having a hell of a day. Cleveland at 5-2. Only losses on the road in Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And now the Miz, once again, Mr. Money in the Bank. So Raw is going to be interesting to watch for the time being until he cashes in. And hopefully when he does cash in, he's going to win it. But now we have Miz and Morrison walking backstage. This would be the time for Morrison to turn on Miz. And then they feud over the Money in the Bank. Because then you sort of have a double heel turn. You have Tucker turning on Otis, and then you potentially have Morrison turning on Miz. Money in the Bank now has a meaning. Once again, yes, I'd say so. Even when they had the Money in the Bank winners over the past few years, Miz calling out the WWE and Universal Champions. You will not know when. And you will not know where I will be cashing in this in. Miz gonna bring back Money in the Bank. Take it to another level.
He took his best friend, his so-called best friend, for granted. And, isn't that right?
This ain't about you.
Tucker saying to Miz, this isn't about you. We got Caleb Braxton interviewing both Tucker and Miz now. We were supposed to be a team, so Heavy Machinery's done for. John Morrison stepping up. I did everything for that man. This Heavy Machinery split, to me, feels like, remember when Enzo and Cass split up? And then Enzo, of course, got cut. And they tried giving Big Cass a run. I feel like this is how it's going to be for Otis and Tucker moving forward. And it's not going to work out.
Who's had his back for all these years? Me.
See, Otis is on SmackDown. And Tucker's on Raw, along with Mandy Rose. So maybe a little cheating going on from behind. Here comes Otis now. Takes out Miz, but he's also taking out Tucker as they're going to run around backstage in the WWE Thunderdome. Who knows? We might have a brand-to-brand crossover match at Survivor Series with Otis and Tucker. And then they'll now cut back to Michael Cole and Corey Graves on commentary. Congrats to The Miz. That's good that The Miz just won. Now, does he cash in on Drew McIntyre tonight? Does he cash in on Randy Orton tonight? Depending on who wins that, of course. In the main event of the evening, tonight at Hell in a Cell, a Hell in a Cell WWE Championship match. However, coming up next in the co-main event of the night, we got two more Hell in a Cell matches. This one for the SmackDown Women's title. It'll be Bayley defending against Sasha Banks, and then we'll get Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. And hell, it's not even 8:30 on the East Coast. We'll have another hour of Hell in a Cell, I'm thinking. They'll both be about a half hour apiece, if not a little longer. And then that'll be it, because there's nothing else advertised. Unless they add something in late after this match before the main event, then okay, but we now see the video package with Bayley and Sasha Banks, of course, with Bayley being the one to turn on Sasha. But good for The Miz, and good for the WWE finally getting something right, having Otis drop the Money in the Bank to The Miz, finally doing something with the Money in the Bank briefcase, it seems like. But when does and where does Miz cash in? So we're going to have to be watching WWE programming a lot moving forward now, as we normally do anyway. But Raw, even NXT for that matter, maybe they have Miz cash in on our current NXT champion and the Prince himself, Finn Balor. And then you have, McIntyre, Orton on Raw right now, and then Reigns, Uso on SmackDown. And then even pay-per-views. So it'll be interesting to see. I would drag it out a little bit longer, of course. Don't do it right away for Money in the Bank, because then it would extend with what we've known this WWE Money in the Bank storyline to be here in 2020. and then you take it on into early 2021. You know, you have, and whenever and whoever Miz catches in on, hopefully he wins. Depending on the situation, of course, when we get there. You know, we'll have more on that then, of course, but we'll have Royal Rumble winners. You know, whoever's going to win that, going to face off against whoever at WrestleMania. More so than not. And then maybe a cash-in, maybe Miz one-ups Rollins. If they were smart, and if they are going to be going back to live touring and have live fans, a live crowd for Raw and SmackDown shortly, whenever that's going to be. Yeah, and I think that's why they waited for Otis to potentially cash in, and this, you know, arose, and right decision to take it off of Otis, because what are you going to do with him other than, no, it just doesn't work out. Feel bad for Otis a little bit, but not really, because he's not really that good to begin with. He's just a little popular. You know, people like him. You know, he's Hulk Hogan. But not as good. I think everybody's liked him because of the Mandy storyline, and then now that's sort of over. You got to move on. You know, nothing lasts forever. You know, it ran its course, and now here we are. Miz winning Money in the Bank, long story short. So, if they are going to be going back to, you know, a live event with actual fans at some point soon, and I think that, like I was saying, that's why I think they waited on Otis to pitch the cash and have it be then, but now it's Miz. So do you still wait to do that? Because now it seems like, and we might get more info tomorrow on Raw, as Michael Cole, what time is it? Oh, that's right. Nobody cares. It's boss time for WWE Hell in a Cell with Bayley and Sasha Banks. And I'm not going to be shocked if Sasha wins. I don't want her to win by any means. I think Bayley should retain, but it's just, you know, the point we're at. And we're finally getting the match between the two, you know, because the history with these two, you know, best friends, NXT together, up on the main roster, Raw and SmackDown for that matter. But most recently, they were your WWE Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions, along with being the WWE Tag Team champions for the women's division as well, before they lost them all. And Bayley's still your SmackDown Women's Champion to this point, defending tonight inside Hell in a Cell against Sasha Banks. But Miz, new Money in the Bank holder, defeating Otis. Roman Reigns still your Universal Champion. We had Elias defeat Jeff Hardy by DQ. So Hardy disqualified himself, hit Elias over the back with a guitar. Elias your winner, and then Miz over Otis just moments ago. Co-main event next with Bayley and Sasha Banks, and then in fact we'll have our main event with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. Why did they lower the cell before they came out? Because normally they'd walk in through the front door. The cell is still high in the air for some reason. Bayley's been SmackDown Women's Champion for a little over a year now. About a year and two and a half weeks. It was the second ever SmackDown on Fox, Friday Night SmackDown on Fox, during last year's WWE Draft. That's when she came out with a new haircut. She's had the short hair ever since. No more Bayley buddies. I've liked her basically since then. I mean, beforehand, you know, she really wasn't anything special. She was just a favorite too, a fan favorite. As she comes out with steel chair with some writing on it, don't know what that says at the moment, but ever since she turned heel, she's been a very, very good, in my opinion, at least, SmackDown Women's Champion. And now the camera cuts out for a second for some reason. Okay, so Bayley now up on the ring apron with that championship title around her neck, and and then a steel chair with writing on it for some reason. It's like spray painted on.
Bayley arrived in WWE back in the days of FCW. She is a different competitor. She is a different woman. The following contest is a Hell in a Cell match.
Hell in a Cell match for the Smackdown Women's Championship. Bayley defending against Sasha Banks. Sasha decked out in all white. Bayley decked out in all black with that black and white steel chair.
Introducing the challenger.
So now Sasha and Bayley going to be introduced. I mean, honestly, Hell in a Cell night hasn't been bad, you know, for the only 3 matches we've seen. But here we are. Now the cell is going to be lowered. And, okay, just as the cell's being lowered, Sasha goes right after Bayley. Drop kick right to the chair, and then the chair goes flying out of the ring. Ringside, the cell's now lowered, locked in, so Bayley doesn't have her steel chair. Yet, there's probably a ton of them underneath the damn ring. Like, give me a break. Sasha telling Bayley to get up and fight her. How about I go to sleep and don't even care about this match? I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, she needed an advantage. You said that right, Corey. Bayley needs an advantage tonight against a very upset, irate, angry.
So Sasha attacking Bayley here. Looks like Bayley got another haircut.
There were no disqualifications, no countouts. It's pinfall or submission for the Smackdown Women's Championship in one of the most intense rivalries we've ever witnessed.
See, the thing with Sasha, like, she's so fake. Not as bad as Ronda Rousey, but she's pretty fake. And I feel like if they put the title on Sasha, everybody's just going to turn on her, and it's just going to backfire, and it's not going to work out. This is the type of match where everyone thinks that whoever the champion is going to lose, but then they end up retaining and they're still champion following the match. Sasha with the crossface locked in. Bayley trying to go for a rope break. She rolls out of the ring. Off the ropes goes Sasha. Drop kick. Bayley rolls out of the way. Bayley now just throwing Sasha into the cell, where you can see there's some footholds for whoever at some point during this match, or even McIntyre Orton later on still to come. Bayley now with a kendo stick. Sasha moves out of the way. Bayley hits the cell with the kendo stick now. Sasha now lodging and almost decking Michael Cole right in the face with a kendo stick, shooting it through the hole of the cage of the Hell in a Cell. Just missing to the right. Bayley with another kendo stick. Sasha catches that, and then a right knee right to Bayley. Sasha looking underneath the ring once again. Excited for Miz to be Money in the Bank winner. The current holder. He didn't technically win the Money in the Bank ladder match back in May, but he defeated Otis tonight. He's Mr. Money in the Bank once again. So excited, honestly, to see what they do with Miz and Money in the Bank. You know, because he could cash in on anybody. And he even said that. You know, like, look out, current WWE and Universal Champions, with whoever's going to win the WWE Championship match later on, still to come, with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, but with Reigns on SmackDown, Miz on Raw, of course, you would think Miz is going to cash in on whoever's on Raw. They now have a table, and it's propped up, but in the meantime, they're standing at opposite ends and then driving each other. Sasha is more so than not driving Bayley back first into the cell here tonight, Hell in a Cell. And then Bayley just got kneed right in the face as Sasha ran the top of the table into the cell. And now Sasha off the top rope, a double knee, cover on Bayley, 1, 2, and a kick out. But with the Money in the Bank, like I tell you what, they finally actually did get it right after 5 months that we didn't really have to go through with the Money in the Bank, because it shouldn't have been Otis, but here we are, and you know, they changed course, and you know, good for them. They finally get it right. They finally figured it out, it seems like. But in the meantime, like I said earlier, the past few winners haven't been able to cash in and win, so maybe Miz can break that streak and get the Money in the Bank back to where it belongs on WWE television. But I do strongly believe at some point, okay, now whether or not Miz is going to be Money in the Bank or a champion, we're going to get Morrison turning on him at some point down the line. Not saying tomorrow, not saying in a week. If I'm WWE, I drag it out a little bit more just to, you know, hopefully play your cards right and keep people on the edge of their seat, not knowing when Miz is going to cash in now. As it should be for the Money in the Bank, for God's sakes. Like, come on, it's basically a championship title in waiting. Because there's a contract inside, of course. You can cash in anytime, anywhere, against anybody. And, you know, hopefully Miz, as I mentioned, can break the streak and become a champion. But, I strongly believe Miz will get turned on by Morrison. Morrison will turn on the Miz, John Morrison, Johnny Raw now on Monday Night Raw. He's had a slew of nicknames. Johnny Money in the Bank sounds better, though. Have him win Money in the Bank. Have another Money in the Bank match, for God's sake. Or after Miz, you know, cashes in and wins, have Morrison turn then, and then you have Morrison eventually turn on, or cash in, or win, whatever the case may be, whatever instance it is, whatever road they take, if they even go that route. Have Morrison become Money in the Bank or a champion, because he deserves it. He honestly does. And I think they know that, and I think they want to do it, but it's just a matter of when. Because like I said, tonight was the first step to getting Money in the Bank back to what we know the Money in the Bank to be. So Bayley and Sasha still going at it for the SmackDown Women's title here tonight at Hell in a Cell. Sasha's been in control for the most part tonight. Looking underneath the ring once again for another weapon, more kendo sticks. It's not like there's anything else down there. Like, come on. Like, kendo sticks and steel chairs along with one table. And now those kendo sticks, Sasha going to lodge them into the hole of Hell in a Cell and the hole on the steel steps. But Bayley's going to reverse this here, and Sasha's going to be going through those kendo sticks, it looks like. Yeah, Sasha just got turned around. Now up on the ring apron. One of the kendo sticks just got dislodged. And then threw it face first goes Sasha Banks through the kendo stick that was lodged in the steel step in the Hell in a Cell as Bayley reversed course. And more neck first than face first did Sasha Banks just go through those kendo sticks. Good idea, Sasha, says Bayley. Bayley going to take advantage and do the same thing herself. No disqualification, of course. It's inside Hell in a Cell. Why don't you put one below it? Bayley now gonna pull up, and Sasha once again goes through the kendo sticks, coming from ground up. So Sasha just went through a few kendo sticks, face and neck first. Bayley with a cover on Sasha in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, and a kick out.
Let's look at this once more. The champion with creativity of her own. Clotheslining the challenger with 2 kendo sticks. Nasty. I assure you, at this point, Sasha's neck has been compromised once again, and Bayley wasted no time exploiting it.
Bayley trying to get Sasha to tap out now.
The entire focus of Bayley's offense is turned to the injured neck. Smart move. When you've got an elite level competitor like Banks, you take any opportunity you can. Bayley knows her championship's in jeopardy.
Neck breaker from Bayley. Cover. 1, 2, kick out 2.5 once again. Bayley really working the neck of Sasha Banks here tonight in this match with those kendo stick shots, of course, and then the neck breaker just there.
Bayley knows Sasha better than anybody. She understands that Sasha's got a tremendous heart. It's going to take a lot to put her away here tonight. No. Sasha able to block. Banks fighting her way out of Bayley's grasp. And now, sunset.
Ooh, that had to hurt. Bayley just powerbombed, or Sasha, excuse me, just powerbombed Bayley into the side of the Hell in a Cell. Sasha gonna roll Bayley in the ring. Cover. 1, 2, kick out. Sasha now with a steel chair. So yeah, she was complaining to Bayley, hey, I got the upper hand now. You don't have a steel chair because I kicked it out of the cell before it was locked in. But now here's Sasha with a steel chair of her own that backfires on her because Bayley just reversed course and Sasha went face first onto the seat of the steel chair. We're in the middle of the ring inside Hell in a Cell.
Champion now just looking incensed, almost insulted that Sasha Banks dare continue to fight. And Bayley may have just snuffed out the rally with this. Desperation move that completely turned the tide for this Hell in a Cell.
Bayley now lodging a steel chair in between the middle and top rope in the corner, in between the top and middle turnbuckles. Sasha's going to reverse, and Bayley's going to go face first through it, probably. Sasha actually ducks, rolls out of the ring, and then a kick to Bayley, more so a knee right to the face. And then, yeah, Sasha drives Bayley face first in that chair. I mean, it's really not that hard to see what's happening and what's about to happen. Back and forth, back and forth. Ooh, Sasha just went head first, back of her head into that steel chair. She might be out. She might have a concussion. Cover, 1, 2, and Sasha kicks out at 2.5.
into the steel chair. And now Bayley with Sasha now.
Bayley going to go up top, it looks like.
And Bayley going to climb up.
Maybe with an elbow.
Put Sasha Banks away.
Sasha's going to roll out of the way. Elbow. No, that connects actually. Cover. 1, 2. Sasha Banks kicks out at 2.5. Bayley telling the ref, come on. Count 3.
This maneuver from the champion. And then soaring through the cell. Elbow drop right to the heart of her former best friend. But the boss fights on. And now
Sasha reverses. Nice backstabber into the submission, into the crossface. Bayley trying to grab the bottom rope, but there are no rope breaks. There's no disqualifications because it's a Hell in a Cell match. Bayley rolls out of the ring now, and then she grabs the ring apron. Sasha's stuck between that, and now Bayley gonna DDT her? No. Sasha's just laying in between the ring and the ring apron. And now Bayley with kendo stick shots right to the back. And Bayley pulls up the curtain so Sasha can fall down because she was stuck. Bayley now looking for something else. More kendo sticks underneath the ring. Yet you have how many laying outside already? Now duct tape. Bayley with duct tape. Trying to bite into that duct tape to get it to come undone, and Bayley in the meantime asks the ref, hey, can you get this undone for me? Ref's like, no, I can't do that for you. Bayley having a little trouble with the duct tape. She finally gets it to go. What's she going to do with the duct tape now? Duct tape kendo sticks together even though they're already taped together to begin with? She's going to make a longer kendo stick now. She's going to extend the length. And okay, she's going to lodge those now in between the ring with the curtain up and then the Hell in a Cell. Ref over there talking with Sasha. That duct tape's not going to hold. There's no way. Somebody's going to be going through it anyway, but, like, come on. It's not going to be that bad. Bayley talking to Sasha, and then Michael Cole and Corey Graves, and then Bayley walks right through the duct tape kendo stick job that she just did. I get time not on her side by any means, but now Sasha with a fire extinguisher as Bayley looks down. And Bayley just got stung right in the face with a fire extinguisher. Bayley trying to escape the Hell in a Cell now. The door's still locked. She's grabbing that other steel chair, though, that somehow mysteriously wound up right back at the front door of Hell in a Cell that when it got kicked out, it was almost halfway up the entrance ramp. So the other ref ringside obviously put that there for her. Sasha now attacking Bayley ringside, still in Hell in a Cell, of course. There's a few feet in between the ring and the cell. But Sasha with the fire spray, and then the attack on Bayley now throwing her into the cell. Sasha telling Bayley, you're nothing without me. I think it's the other way around. Sasha throwing Bayley into the cell once more. And then a double knee. Sasha's not that good. She's just popular for some reason. I don't get why people like her. She's not that good.
Sasha Banks has recovered for the most part.
Sasha looking for something else underneath the ring now. More kendo sticks. There's nothing else underneath there, for God's sakes. Like, come on. You might as well have had this be a kendo stick match instead of a Hell in a Cell championship match. Sasha now with another kendo stick shot to the back of Bayley. Going to town. Swing, bada swing. Game 5 of the World Series is underway. All tied up at 2 with the LA Dodgers and Tampa Bay Rays. Sasha now in the corner, backing off of Bayley, but Bayley trying to get to her feet. What's going to happen here? Bayley trying to grab that one steel chair, and then Sasha with a kick. Sasha going to go up top now. Sasha banks off the top rope. Frog splash, but then Bayley got that chair up. Sasha lands on the steel chair on top of Bayley. And they're both down now, just rolling around. Somebody cover somebody, for God's sakes, and pick up the win. 1, 2, 3.
Like a car crash in the middle of Hell in a Cell. This really, Corey, right now is a turning point in a Smackdown Women's Championship match inside Hell in a Cell at the WWE Thunderdome. Whoever makes it back to their feet first gets on offense will have the upper hand. With a title hanging in the balance. At this point, either of these women have the ability to make it back to their feet. Bayley just trying to crawl away.
Bayley rolls out of the ring.
Remember, you only win via pinfall or submission. No countouts, no disqualifications.
Sasha goes after her. And then a face palm right into the mat. Bayley rolls Sasha back in the ring. Cover 1, 2. Kick out at 2.5 by Sasha Banks. They are giving these Hell in a Cell matches time, which is a good thing. You know, I'd be fine with good matches if, you know, they give it the right amount of time and only have 5, 6 matches per pay-per-view rather than 10 or 12. Bayley now grabbing a ladder from underneath the ring. Okay, at least it's on a kendo stick. But Bayley with a ladder. I'm going to slide that now in the ring.
Bayley, racking her brain, searching the entire cell for potential weapons. Kendo sticks and tables and chairs and a fire extinguisher. Now a ladder in the ring.
So Bayley has a ladder in the ring. She's setting up a few other steel chairs in the meantime. And it looks like she's going to set that ladder on top of the steel chairs that she just set up. And somebody's going to be laying on top of that, and then somebody's going to come off the top rope, and then that's going to be your finish. Cover 1, 2, 3, I bet you.
Maybe she did, but that's a sign of a champion, realizing what the situation is at all times. How much does Sasha have left? Still trying to fight back. And, oh my God.
Sasha face first off the ladder.
That may have been the last gasp for Sasha Banks. Look at the way back.
Bayley's going to put Sasha on it. Bayley's going to go for an elbow drop. And then Sasha on top of the ladder is going to move out of the way, and then she's going to cover Bayley 1, 2, 3, and Sasha's going to defeat Bayley here in the next few minutes. Exactly what's going to happen. Bayley once again looking underneath the ring for something. What the hell is that? Spray paint? And Bayley crossing an X on the chest of Sasha Banks. X marks the spot. That was what was on the steel chair Bayley brought to the ring this whole time. Bayley with that steel chair going to go for a steel chair elbow off the top rope through the ladder. Sasha moves out of the way. I am the ladder. Ladder doesn't break. And then Sasha jumping over the ladder. Double knee to Bayley in the corner. And then Bayley to belly from Sasha to Bayley. Cover 1, 2, kick out at 2.5 by Bayley. Sasha was that close to becoming champion. Close with the finish, but not yet. That was good. I mean, like I said, called that and saw that coming from a mile away. Minus Sasha hitting the double knee, and then the Bayley to belly before the cover. Bayley should win this. Bayley should win this. Sasha now throwing everything in the ring, out of the ring. What are you going to do with the ladder? You're not reaching for anything.
Once upon a time, the boss was the most ruthless competitor in WWE, male or female. She needs to find that again.
Bayley with a knee right to the face of Sasha. Bayley to belly from Bayley to Sasha Banks. Cover 1, 2, and kick out at 2.5 once again. How was that not 3? Yeah, Sasha kicked out. Actually a good match. It honestly is. Steel chair right to the back of Sasha. Bayley with another steel chair shot right to the back of Sasha Banks.
The evil look in the eyes of Bayley. The metamorphosis complete tonight. Is it evil toll or is it just reality smacking Banks in the face?
And then Bayley going to go for a Bayley to belly. However, Sasha reverses it. Bayley face first on the chair, and then now has Sasha in the bank statement through the steel chair. And Bayley taps out. Sasha Banks, unfortunately, is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. That was actually a good finish, too. I'm going to have to get a replay of that. But Sasha victorious over Bayley. Everybody's going to turn on her now because she's nothing. She's not that good. So that means there's your one title change. Orton's probably not going to beat McIntyre now because you already had Miz beat Otis for the Money in the Bank. But do they go that far? Maybe. We'll get McIntyre Orton coming up shortly. And for the first time since mid-October of 2019, Bayley is not your SmackDown Women's Champion now. 380-day reign for Bayley. Becky Lynch held the Raw Women's Championship for, I believe, around 400 days, if I'm not mistaken. Just up until this past May before she relinquished the title because she's pregnant and will be giving birth here shortly. And we haven't seen Becky since, of course, but I guess she was backstage at a recent event. Oh, you got to show a replay before that, how they got into that bank statement in the chair before Bayley tapped out. They're not going to. They're just going to show the tap out. But still a good finish. Bayley was going for a Bayley to belly on Sasha Banks with the steel chair. And then Sasha reversed it. Bayley hit her head face first off of that steel chair. into the bank statement. She went. Sasha makes Bayley to tap out. And Sasha Banks defeats Bayley. Sasha Banks, your new SmackDown Women's Champion. They'll have a rematch at some point. Bayley deserves like 10,000 rematches for as damn good as she did as SmackDown Women's Champion the past year. Nobody cares, Sasha Banks. Nobody cares that you're new SmackDown Women's Champion. No. I do not care whatsoever. I don't. Now we got the Hurt Business backstage. And Charlie Caruso with an interview. So Mustafa Ali, I guess, issued a challenge on the kickoff pre-show.
I'm sorry, did you say step up?
And somebody from the Hurt Business is going to face Mustafa Ali coming up next, it looks like, before the Hell in a Cell main event with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton.
He is the lead predator of this mighty pride of lions. And like the legendary Warrior Kings.
And it's going to be Bobby Lashley. He's the only one in ring gear backstage. Everyone else in suits.
All right, so who have you chosen from Retribution to take on Bobby Lashley?
Gentlemen, suggestions?
Okay, MVP now gets to choose who from Retribution faces Bobby Lashley.
How about the one named Smackdown?
Slapjack it is.
It's going to be Slappy Flapjack. Shane Thorne against Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell.
We are not greedy businessmen, but we are in fact businessmen, professionals of the highest order. And yes, we are driven by profit, but we are also driven by our intense passion for inflicting pain, excruciating pain, just like you. So I see your challenge, and I raise you. Let's make it a little more interesting. Let's make sure that we just have two men facing each other one-on-one. No cornermen, no backups.
Okay, two men facing each other one-on-one.
Mr. Lashley is prepared to make this a United States championship.
And Bobby Lashley going to defend his United States Championship now, too.
I guess now we just wait to see what Retribution has to say.
I'm not waiting on anyone. If anybody from
Bobby Lashley says he's not waiting on anyone.
I'll be on that ring waiting.
Hopefully he drops the U.S. title. He's going to be out in the ring waiting. WWE Network. We got 30 Days of the Dead Man with The Undertaker. Of course, as mentioned, next month at Survivor Series, it'll be 30 years since The Undertaker debuted. So after the last ride, we're getting a little bit more of The Undertaker before a potential return once again. And now a Halloween Havoc promo for this Wednesday's Halloween Havoc event. I'll have live reactions play, so be sure to tune in live right here on YouTube. Shotzi Blackheart hosting. She says trick or treat, spin the wheel coming back. We got a few good matches actually. That'll be this Wednesday. WWE Halloween Havoc. A few days prior to Halloween this upcoming Saturday. Here comes the Hurt Business. MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander, Amen. So here comes the almighty Bobby Lashley. This will now be a United States Championship match. So an add-in and the co-main event of the evening, it looks like, before McIntyre Orton for the WWE title inside Hell in a Cell.
Set to represent the Hurt Business because earlier
this. Take one of yours to go against one of ours. You decide the fall guy. And listen, I love the Moxie to Hurt Business taking it a step further and putting the United States Championship on the line. And tonight, WWE Hell in a Cell is brought to you by Tap Out. Available now at tapout.com. Joe, how do you like the move by MVP?
Oh, I love it. And there's one thing that we need to remember here, that in quoting Sean Carter, not only is Bobby Lashley a businessman, he is the businessman. And tonight, he trades in pain. And this year, you got to agree, revenue has been off the charts.
Yes, sir. And now the question posed by the Hurt Business, will Retribution answer? I think we just got it.
Bobby Lashley going to defend his United States Championship against somebody from Retribution. We don't know who. Shelton Benjamin said Slapjack, so Slappy Flapjack looks to be the challenger. That's Shane Thorne. Slapjack from Retribution making his pay-per-view debut in a United States Championship match against Bobby Lashley. Freddie and Jason wearing his ski mask. More so hockey mask than anything, but come on, this is ridiculous.
Explosiveness, the animalistic tendencies, all define who Bobby Lashley is. Oh, and Lashley just teeing off in the corner. Lashley was the one who brought that man tag team out to a close this past week on Raw with his vicious hurt lock, the full Nelson submission. And the reason why MVP referred to Lashley as a lead predator. Lashley, time and time again, has been a difference maker for the Hurt Business.
And the power. The incredible power of Bobby Lashley once again just too domineering for anybody to do.
Bobby Lashley looking to make a statement on behalf of the Hurt Business. Stalling what I was talking about. Suplex by Lashley. Right now, Bobby Lashley's making this look easy. It was Mustafa Ali, the one who was out to try and cause some chaos, I guess, in the Hurt Business. And well, the Hurt Business to turn the game right back on Retribution. And Ali, he has wrecked in the past. We're talking about allowing these members of Retribution, like Slapjack, allowing their truth to what they be heard. Not resulting on you. Look out. Look out, Bobby Lashley, the United States champion, at control. And now face first into the top turnbuckle. And I think he got enough of a drop kick there. See the unyielding loyalty these members of Retribution have to Ali.
This is quite an opportunity for Slapjack. I mean, he's gonna need to turn it up here.
Whoa, and cannonball. And now Slapjack to win the United States title. Trying to get the shoulders on the mat. No count there. Was too close to the ropes. Well, position decision there by Slapjack. But this is smart for Slapjack. You cannot allow Lashley in the room.
How much is his position? I mean, Bobby Lashley is so massive. When is he not near the ropes?
And Joe, the way that this rivalry started on between Retribution and the Hurt Business, Retribution has not come on the right side of the win-loss column. How big would this be for Slapjack and Retribution?
You know, obviously, the movement needs momentum, and Slapjack...
Wow, running DDT! There's the cover to propel that movement, Joe, and a kick out.
And like I said, I mean, Slapjack picking a victory up here tonight over Bobby Lashley, the United States champion. That would be a huge boon to the movement.
To take away the prize possession, not only of Bobby Lashley, but also the crown jewel, so to speak, of the Hurt Business. Look at Slapjack. There's something demanded about this guy. Just realizing that now?
Slapjack out to the apron. What is he thinking? He's got a great opportunity. Joe with Bobby Lashley on his knee. We haven't seen much of him from the top rope. Oh, we're about to see him fly, I think. Bobby Lashley punching Slapjack. Oh, and a big right. And look at Bobby Lashley mow down the competition. Swinging the hammers, and now he's... Oh, throwing the flower shot. Crossover and throwing a belly. Look at the look on the face of the Almighty. Tearing through Slapjack. Driven into the canvas. Slapjack's right. Might be on the
Bobby Lashley, Shane Thorne, Slapjack of Retribution for the United States Championship at Hell in a Cell. Been back and forth. But in the meantime, Lashley gonna submit as Retribution attacks Lashley post-match. Dio Madden and Dominic Dijak. Mustafa Ali, the leader, on the ring apron. So Mustafa Ali might be going up against Lashley for the U.S. title at some point, maybe. But Dijak, of course, as the Hurt Business now runs down the ramp. Mustafa Ali slips and falls in the middle of the ring. Hurt Business standing on top of him as Mustafa Ali slides out. There's Mia Yim. Retribution, a five-man and woman stable, a new faction. Bobby Lashley, though, is still your United States champion after defeating Shane Thorne, Slapjack, Retribution tonight at Hell in a Cell. Her Business, of course, MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander. Retribution is now Mustafa Ali as the mystery hacker, the new leader of Retribution, with Dominic Dijak, Dio Madden, Shane Thorne, and Mia Yim. T-Bar, Mace, Slapjack, and whatever the hell Mia Yim's name is. But Mustafa Ali is still Mustafa Ali. So still to the point of a potential Retribution Hurt Business Survivor Series match with Mustafa Ali potentially at some point going up against Bobby Lashley for the U.S. title now too, it looks like. So we'll see what happens there. But Bobby Lashley's still your United States champion here tonight at Hell in a Cell. I would think coming up next, it's going to be Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship inside Hell in a Cell. And we could go to 10 o'clock with that match, with this another Undertaker vignette. This should be for Survivor Series, you would think. 30 years for the dead man. And then, of course, the video packages entrances and then the match. Phenom Forever. Undertaker 30. And Survivor Series this year will be centered around Undertaker's 30th anniversary. Survivor Series will be on Sunday, November the 22nd. And I'll have live reactions play live right here on YouTube, so be sure to tune back in. However, right now, coming up next, as they have the fire going off, making it look as realistic as possible. Hell in a Cell, our main event of the evening. It'll be Drew McIntyre defending his WWE Championship against Randy Orton, the Scottish psychopath, the chosen one himself, against the Viper, the returning legend killer, Randy Orton. McIntyre and Orton coming up next. Survivor Series 4 weeks from tonight, November the 22nd. It'll be inside the WWE Thunderdome. We see the red, yellow, and blue coloring scheme, so maybe NXT is going to be involved. Once again, maybe not, we'll see. But Survivor Series, of course, always the battle for brand supremacy. But before then, tonight in our main event for Hell in a Cell, it'll be Drew McIntyre defending his WWE Championship against Randy Orton. Video package now. As mentioned, this feud's been going on since midsummer. The Legend Killer returned, of course. They faced off SummerSlam. McIntyre won. They faced off last month at Clash of Champions in an ambulance match. McIntyre won. Now, potentially the rubber match tonight at Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell for the WWE title. It's Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton once more. We saw those legends that Orton took out return at Clash of Champions. Ric Flair drove away with the ambulance. But then I believe it was next night on Raw in that Legends Lounge. Orton, dressed as a janitor, attacked them all. And of course, they haven't been seen since. That was, of course, Ric Flair, Big Show, Christian, and Shawn Michaels. And we're still waiting for Edge to potentially return at some point. Because they had, in quotes, in WWE's eyes, the greatest wrestling match ever back at Backlash with Orton and Edge. However, Edge was injured and he's been out of action ever since. So this video package continues. McIntyre telling Orton he's not going to send him to heaven. He's not going to send him to purgatory either. He's going to send him straight to hell.
Drew had lost via pinfall in almost one entire year.
Drew, if that's not a sign of things to come, I don't know what is.
I will be locked inside Hell in a Cell with Drew McIntyre, and I'm going to take his WWE Championship from him by hitting you with the 3 most dangerous letters in sports entertainment.
RKO. Before, of course, McIntyre interrupted that promo by Randy Orton. Coming up, our main event, and then we'll recap Hell in a Cell, along with NFL Week 7. We'll take a look at all the games from this week, and then see what's going on Sunday Night Football, along with Monday Night Football tomorrow night. But be sure to tune back in on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT Halloween Havoc. All right, so now Dave Bautista making a cameo for his appearance in a new video game. Here comes the chosen one, our WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. Normally the challenger comes out first and then the champion comes out last. But McIntyre coming out first. So what does that mean for Orton? Is he going to win? McIntyre about to enter Hell in a Cell. What do we got on time? Yeah, we're going to be going to 10 o'clock. We're going to be going to 10 o'clock here on the East Coast for Hell in a Cell, and it'll be a 3-hour pay-per-view. Orton, in the meantime, he dressed up as a cameraman once again, and he's not coming out with an entrance. He's already ringside. McIntyre walked right by him. Orton takes his mask off. He's decked out in a hoodie and black pants. And McIntyre attacking Randy Orton now. Big chop right at the chest of Randy Orton. So they're fighting outside of Hell in a Cell before, of course, they enter Hell in a Cell and ring the bell to have an official match with the WWE Championship. We saw Orton dress up as a cameraman back at WrestleMania against Edge. So now they're going to take apart the announce table. Orton picking up McIntyre. Right hand from Drew, though, in retaliation. Right hand from Drew McIntyre. They're fighting ringside, outside of Hell in a Cell. Match isn't officially underway as of yet.
This is Randy Orton's playground. 7 times, remember, Randy Orton's been in this position 7 times.
Now McIntyre is going to throw Orton into Hell in a Cell, and he's going to shut the door himself. The ref will lock it. He tells the ref to lock it now. And we're going to get underway. WWE Championship on the line in tonight's main event at Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell. McIntyre up on the ring apron. Orton takes the sweatshirt off. Ring the bell. We're underway. Match now officially underway. It's McIntyre and Orton for the WWE Championship. They're going to lock up middle of the ring. No, Orton with a kick. McIntyre with a right hand. Now trading rights and lefts back and forth. And Orton's got his trunks on underneath the sweatpants. So he'll take his sweatpants off here in a second too, but he'll have his wrestling trunks on. Big chop from Drew.
He needs to not let this get too emotional. That's what Randy Orton is hoping for. He's hoping to prey on those emotions, make him
Orton on the ropes. Kick from Randy Orton. And then RKO, no. Drew the clothesline. Orton sent ringside, shoulder first into the cell. Drew driving Randy Orton into the Hell in a Cell. Raw commentating team on the call. Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, and Samoa Joe. McIntyre now picks up Orton and slams him into the cell structure. Tell me how it feels, says Drew.
Challenge to see how far he is willing to go. Remember the traditional rules of Hell in a Cell apply in this match.
McIntyre with the cover, 1, 2, and a kick out by Orton.
If the win be a pinfall or submission inside the ring.
Chasing each other ringside once again, however, inside Hell in a Cell now. The door's locked for the time being. McIntyre picking up Orton, driving him into the cell once more. And then neck first, it looked like, right into the steel post.
Smile on the face of the WWE champion. Now, we talked about McIntyre settling in. He's smiling inside Hell in a Cell.
McIntyre going to look for something underneath the ring. Hopefully it's not a kendo stick. It's a steel chair. All right, I can deal with that. Tells the cameraman to move. McIntyre with a steel chair. Right to the gut of Randy Orton. Slap on the back. Orton now crawling around ringside on his hands and knees. And then McIntyre once again throws Orton back first into the Hell in a Cell.
It's my legacy, the legacy I am trying to build as WWE champion. Is that a hint of sadistic pleasure I detect on the champion's face?
McIntyre with some steel steps. Right to the face of Randy Orton, and Orton falls down.
McIntyre wants to beat Randy Orton at his own game.
Orton now just laying in the corner. You chose this match, says Drew McIntyre. You wanted a Hell in a Cell match. You got it. McIntyre once again with those steel steps. Throws those into the side of Hell in a Cell. However, Randy Orton moved out of the way. Orton not even there. He rolled back into the ring. Sending Orton to Claymore Country inside Hell in a Cell. However, Orton's probably going to reverse into an RKO. Orton with the steel chair right to the front of the right knee of Drew McIntyre. To the gut, slap on the back with the steel chair. Orton with that steel chair right to the neck of Drew McIntyre. They bring up the jaw injury McIntyre had. I don't know how serious that is by any means, but of course they played it in the storyline. Orton gonna take off his sweatpants now. He has his wrestling trunks on, so he's not in his birthday suit. He's not butt-ass naked by any means, but as close as you're gonna get, of course, for all you women out there right now, probably drooling over this match. But McIntyre and Orton for the WWE title in tonight's main event at Hell in a Cell. Inside, once again, Hell in a Cell.
And this is the most dangerous Randy Orton attack has become very focused, and he has found his weakness. And now it's McIntyre gasping for air, and Randy Orton, a man who has defeated countless legends, beaten plenty of soon-to-be Hall of Famers and stars inside Hell in a Cell, earned the respect of the Undertaker, the world's strongest man inside this structure, showing what he's capable of.
So now on top of the steel steps in the corner. McIntyre face down. Orton going to go for a stomp or a kick. A stomp right to the side of the head of the WWE champion. Samoa Joe, did you hear that? Hear what?
Flesh against steel.
And now it looks like Orton's going to grade the face of Drew McIntyre across the Hell in a Cell structure. Orton now with those sweats. Drew McIntyre right now looks like Aleister Black with that eye patch wrapped around his face. Orton telling McIntyre what he sees. And he sees McIntyre getting his ass kicked right now by Randy Orton.
As much as Randy Orton wants to win this matchup, to win his 14th world title, he wants to torture McIntyre in the process. With McIntyre in the dark room a few moments ago, the same way the legends like Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, the Big Show, and Christian
Headbutt from Orton.
over the sun in the dark, courtesy of the legend killer.
And McIntyre just got sent into the steel step, shoulder first, ringside. Match has to end in the ring. Pinfall or submission. Orton now once again with the steel steps, the bottom part now of the steel steps. McIntyre is going to reverse this probably. Orton stood those steel steps up. And then he's going to Claymore kick him into the steel steps into the side of the cage inside the Hell in a Cell here tonight. Headbutt from McIntyre now.
I believe Drew McIntyre's about to get rolling here.
Orton smiles, just poke McIntyre in the eyes. And Orton actually in the meantime just throws McIntyre into the steel stairs. Orton going to look underneath the ring once more. Orton now with a table.
Drew McIntyre has handled this absolutely the right way, but when it comes to Randy Orton, no clear picture about contact with him. And now the plan entails a table.
So now Orton propping up that table in the corner. He's going to go get Drew McIntyre in the ring. Drew with the right hand. Another right hand from McIntyre. Third time's a charm, right to the gut. Orton with a nice backstabber. One, and a kick out by Drew McIntyre.
Always finding a way to hang in there, always finding a way to baffle his opponents. So as a competitor, when someone like McIntyre does that, kicks out of one after everything you throw at him.
In the meantime, while this match continues, we're going to take a look at the NFL. With week 7 now almost wrapped up. And then we'll also preview, sorry for any technical difficulties, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton continues. Cleveland Browns beat the Cincinnati Bengals 37-34. Bills over the Jets 18-10. Washington football team, the Skins, beat the Cowboys 25-3. Packers 35-20 winners on the road against Houston Texans. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 45-20 over the Raiders. And the Chiefs also beat the Broncos 43-16. 49ers 33-6 cross country on the road against the New England Patriots. And then the Chargers beat the Jaguars by 10, 39-29. Monday Night Football tomorrow night, Bears and Rams. Week 8 will begin as Drew McIntyre is about to hit a Claymore kick. We're in the main event of the evening. It's a WWE Championship Hell in a Cell match. Orton now up on the shoulders of Drew McIntyre. Orton rolls out of the ring. As mentioned, NFL Week 8 will begin on Thursday with Falcons and Panthers. However, on Wednesday night, I'll have live reactions play live right here on YouTube of AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT with Halloween Havoc. Next week in the NFL, the Steelers will be in Baltimore taking on the Ravens. Patriots-Bills should be an interesting showdown from Buffalo. Titans-Bengals, Raiders and the Browns, that also should be a good game. Colts-Lions, Vikings-Pack, Jets-Chiefs as Le'Veon Bell will face his former team, the New York Jets. Rams and Dolphins. State and Fresno State in the Mountain West on Thursday night. Minnesota, Maryland. However, next Saturday, Boston College, Clemson. Memphis, Cincinnati going to be a good one. That's big brother, little brother. Kansas State, West Virginia, along with Coastal Carolina and Georgia State. Purdue and Illinois. Central Florida, Houston, as the Hell in a Cell gate opens up. Orton has opened the door to Hell in a Cell. Central Florida, Houston, UCF and Houston. Troy and Arkansas State, along with Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. Wisconsin, Nebraska. However, I just saw that Wisconsin starting quarterback Graham Mertz, who had a hell of a game on Friday night against the Fighting Illini, he has tested positive for COVID-19 and he's going to have to sit out for 21 days. That's 3 weeks. That's 3 games because the Big Ten's playing an 8-game schedule. 8 games in 8 weeks. Indiana Rutgers is going to be a good one. Indiana ranked at 17 now in top 25. UAB La Tech, Louisiana Tech hosting UAB. That should be a good one at 3:30 on Saturday. LSU Auburn, TCU Baylor, Northwestern and Iowa as well, along with Texas and Oklahoma State. Boise State Air Force, along with Mississippi State and Alabama. We're finally going to be able to get down to Arkansas. The Hogs on the road in College Station taking on the Texas A&M Aggies. Mizzou and Florida. Florida, as of now, going to play for the first time in a few weeks since their loss against Texas A&M. Navy and SMU. North Carolina, Virginia, along with Oklahoma, Texas Tech. Western Kentucky and BYU, and then the big one, right here in Happy Valley. This upcoming Saturday on Halloween, 7:30 ABC, the Penn State Lions will host the third-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes in this year's whiteout. Of course, no fans in attendance other than friends and family of players. There will, in fact, be cardboard cutouts. Ohio State coming off a win yesterday at home against Nebraska. Penn State, a overtime loss last night against Indiana. Halloween night live right here on YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and hopefully we'll tune back in. Randy Orton now on top of the Hell in a Cell structure as Drew McIntyre looks on. Is Orton going to jump? Orton climbed up top, on top of Hell in a Cell. McIntyre telling him to, hey, come on, get up here with me and let's do something that's going to have everyone talking, with one of us probably being thrown off, as Undertaker did the same thing to those footholds that Orton and McIntyre are climbing up to get to the top of the Hell in a Cell structure. McIntyre and Orton now both on top of Hell in a Cell in tonight's main event for the WWE Championship. What are they going to do? We got those LED boards in the way a little bit with the WWE Thunderdome logo on, as they're up there by the Jumbotron. High in the air, 20 feet they say. And is that a lightsaber? Or is that a bat of some sorts? It looks like a red lightsaber that Randy Orton has in his hand. Orton misses on the swing. McIntyre takes him down. Drew with some right hands. Yeah, what the hell is that? That's like some type of bat, it looks like. Okay, they say it's a bat. Orton just hit McIntyre with it, whatever the hell it is. But McIntyre down and out up on top of the Hell in a Cell. They're going to climb back down the other side to be safe. Nobody's being thrown off of this by any means. Good God Almighty, it killed him. We did see that it was Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon in a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell. And then we saw the return of Sami Zayn. As Owens was on the announce table, Shane jumped off the top of Hell in a Cell. And then Sami pulled Owens off the table, out of the way, and Shane went through the announce table ringside. Just as Mankind did, but however, he was thrown off the top of Hell in a Cell by The Undertaker. And of course, back then, it wasn't as sturdy as it is now. They were bouncing all over the goddamn place up top. Now they're both starting to climb on down, giving each other a pat on the back with a punch. In the meantime, you can see those footholds once again, as mentioned. You can see them clearer nowadays, I think, than you ever, have been able to, with the structure being red. Because the color that's missing is going to, stick out. Somebody's going to go back first off of the cell on the side midway down. And Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, Samoa Joe better get the hell ready. There is a table set up, it looked like. No, actually, that was the announce table. So McIntyre just went through the announce table, falling off of the side of Hell in a Cell. Orton's close. He's got to be able to pin or submit McIntyre in the ring, though, inside Hell in a Cell, to become WWE Champion. Orton now going to continue to climb on down. It looks like McIntyre's bleeding from his mouth. I'm sure they walked through this earlier. Make sure they have their footing right, know what the hell they're doing. Hey, this is what's going to happen, and this is how it's going to be. Yeah, McIntyre bleeding from his mouth. Whether that's real or fake blood, I don't know. Beats me. Now, if McIntyre comes out on top here, he's going to look as strong as I think he's ever looked as your WWE champion. Beating Orton 3 straight pay-per-views and 3 straight WWE championship matches. And they go to the extent of Hell in a Cell. And he falls off the side of Hell in a Cell. And then still wins, potentially. We'll see. They'll have the finish coming up here. Yeah, we'd probably see another 5 minutes or so of action, I'd say. And then the finish. And then they'll wrap it up. They'll go home with closing credits. Whoever stands tall, celebrating as your WWE champion then. But actually, a good night. I've enjoyed Hell in a Cell. I have. It's been a good pay-per-view, I thought. So now McIntyre crawling ringside. They're outside of Hell in a Cell once again. Because they climbed up top, came down the other side, and McIntyre fell off. Orton walking behind them. Got to get back in the ring, though, to finish. They're going to show a replay of McIntyre falling off, being pushed off.
Showing signs of serious internal damage. Randy Orton taking advantage of this situation. Look at the impact on the body of Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, he hit hard too, of course. I mean, he fell from how far up? Back first on top of a hard table. Now they're back inside Hell in a Cell. They enter the gates of Hell for the final time. Before they'll go home in the middle of the ring with the finish, and we're either going to have a new champion or Drew McIntyre is going to retain.
I mean, you hate to see a man like Drew McIntyre, a man who's come out here week after week, and he's done the right things. And this is his reward. You get no mercy from Randy Orton. You know that, Joe. Drew McIntyre couldn't expect any mercy from Randy Orton. All Randy Orton wants is to put Drew McIntyre away and capture his 14th world title. He's upon the biker as he pulls.
McIntyre laying on the... And the Vipers looking to strike.
Securing another WWE Championship for Drew McIntyre, trying to get himself back to his feet. I can't believe McIntyre...
Orton, RKO, no. McIntyre reversal, quick roll up, 1, 2, and a kick out. McIntyre off the ropes. Claymore kick to Randy Orton. And Orton rolls out of the ring. We have yet to see an RKO. So if one RKO is going to do it for Orton and then he wins, okay, I'd be fine with that. Yeah, he didn't hit the RKO, quick roll up on the reversal, kick out, and then McIntyre off the ropes with a Claymore kick. Now both ringside once again, inside Hell in a Cell.
But he still needs to get Randy Orton back in that ring. We don't know what kind of internal injuries that Drew McIntyre is contending with. All we know is that Drew McIntyre is trying to will himself on to win this match. And now McIntyre has the task of getting the near lifeless body of Randy Orton inside the ring. The only place where the decision can happen in this match.
McIntyre trying to pick up Randy Orton. Drew's been WWE champion since WrestleMania 36. Drew McIntyre going to go for another Claymore kick here, it looks like. Randy Orton. Orton's going to reverse it in an RKO here. I can already see it coming. Yeah, he moves, ducks out of the way. Orton, RKO on Drew McIntyre. Orton cover on Drew. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton, your new WWE champion. You know what I hear? I'm hearing some voices in my head, and they're telling me that the returning legend killer, the Viper himself, Randall Keith Orton, Mr. RKO, Randy Orton, is once again your new WWE champion here in 2020. Randy Orton in the rubber mat, in a cell. Inside Hell in a Cell. Defeat. The cell now rises. Orton gonna stand tall, victorious over Drew McIntyre. Remember earlier, Miz won Money in the Bank over Otis. Survivor Series and TLC to close out the year coming up over the next few months for WWE pay-per-views. We'll have Monday Night Raw, NXT, and Friday Night SmackDown, as usual, moving forward. But Randy Orton, now a 14-time WWE champion. Good match, but he needed one RKO to defeat the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. Kudos to Drew, the chosen one himself. He won the Royal Rumble this year, defeated Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and has held the title ever since. Had a very, very strong, a good title run with everything that everyone has been up against this year due to the coronavirus pandemic. But Randy Orton, once again, your new WWE champion. We'll get a rematch eventually, just a matter of when. We could have champion versus champion matches at Survivor Series. Maybe not, though, either. Orton standing tall, top of the entrance ramp with that WWE Championship high in the air. Roman Reigns also retained earlier. He's still your Universal Champion. Randy Orton, however, your new WWE Champion. As we hit closing credits, and that'll do it for Hell in a Cell tonight. Randy Orton is your new WWE champion once again. Congratulations to Orton. It's been a while. It's been a good 5 years at least, if I can recall correctly. Honestly, I think it's been since WrestleMania 30, when he lost in that triple threat against Batista and Daniel Bryan, when the Yes Movement good event, I thought, tonight for Hell in a Cell. Taking a look back at last year's with the controversial finish in that Universal Championship Hell in a Cell main event with The Fiend and Seth Rollins. Before The Fiend, of course, defeated Rollins a few weeks later. Even a year later, you know, the landscape changes because we just had another draft a few weeks back. And Orton, along with McIntyre, they both stayed on Raw. And now tonight, Randy Orton at Hell in a Cell defeats Drew McIntyre to become WWE Champion once again. We had R-Truth and Drew Gulak kick off the night on the kickoff pre-show. R-Truth still your 24/7 champion. We then had Roman Reigns, your big dog, our tribal chief. Reigns defeated Jey Uso, made Uso say, "I quit," in their I Quit Universal Championship Hell in a Cell match. So the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, still your Universal Champion on Friday Night SmackDown. Elias defeated Jeff Hardy, as Hardy disqualified himself with the guitar shot to the back of Elias. So Elias winner by DQ. The Miz, your new Mr. Money in the Bank. And then this will now go back because Miz and Morrison are on Raw as well. Miz, new Money in the Bank holder, after he defeated Otis, after Tucker turned heel, turned on Otis. I still think eventually Miz and Morrison for the Money in the Bank. But what I'm getting at, when Miz first cashed in his Money in the Bank almost a decade ago, he cashed it in on Randy Orton on Monday Night Raw for the WWE Championship. So history repeating itself in 2020. So far, R-Truth victorious, Roman Reigns victorious, Elias victorious, along with The Miz becoming your new Mr. Money in the Bank. A couple title changes. Sasha Banks, your new SmackDown Women's Champion, defeating Bayley in a very, very good match. I thought all three Hell in a Cell championship matches this evening at Hell in a Cell were fabulous. I thought they were all good. So Sasha Banks, your new SmackDown Women's Champion, defeating Bayley. Bayley's almost 400-day reign now over. No longer SmackDown Women's Champion. That's Sasha Banks' title now. And then they added in a match for the United States Championship with Bobby Lashley and then Sloppy Flapjack from Retribution. Bobby Lashley retained. And then in the main event of the evening that just wrapped up moments ago, Randy Orton is your new WWE Champion, defeating the Chosen One, the Scottish psychopath himself, Drew McIntyre. So Randy Orton, your new WWE Champion once more. Congrats to Orton. Congrats to Drew McIntyre, though, on a hell of a run as WWE Champion this year. Like I said, with everything against him and everything against everyone this year in 2020 because of coronavirus, of course. Hopefully everyone's staying safe. But McIntyre had a hell of a run as WWE Champion. There will be a rematch, just a matter of when. Might be tomorrow night on Raw. It might be, next month at Survivor Series. It might not be for a few months, But now you look at it, okay? We go back to Backlash. Well, first, let's go back to Money in the Bank, back after WrestleMania 36, and we'll come for full circle on a year in the WWE. WrestleMania, of course, was almost postponed. They turned it into a two-night event. No fans in the WWE PC. McIntyre, that's when he won the WWE title. But now, Money in the Bank, Otis wins Money in the Bank. That played a factor into tonight. The Miz just beat Otis to become new Mr. Money in the Bank. So Miz on Monday Night Raw, with the history with Randy Orton, cashing in on him once before and winning WWE Champion on Monday Night Raw. It'll be Miz as Mr. Money in the Bank on Raw, along with Randy Orton now as your new WWE Champion. We'll see what they do with McIntyre. If they, have him stick around on Raw, if they do ship him over to SmackDown, maybe. It seems like everybody's going to be staying put for the time being, even after a draft just a couple weeks ago. But then we get into Backlash. And in quotes, as mentioned, we go to the, in WWE's eyes, greatest wrestling match ever. And I'm going to say this right now. Next year's Royal Rumble winner is either going to be Seth Rollins or it's going to be the Rated R Superstar Edge. Because they're going to go back to June. They're going to go back to that greatest wrestling match ever between Randy Orton and Edge that Edge was injured in. And I can already see it. Edge returning, and we're going to get Randy Orton Edge for the WWE Championship next year at WrestleMania 37. And then if they put the title on Edge then, okay, so be it. We'll get there when we get there. But I just have a feeling that's the direction they're going to be going towards now for some reason. I don't know why. It's just how things work out. I've watched wrestling for how long, like you just know. So that's my prediction at this point in time at the end of Hell in a Cell 2020 this evening. So I'm not going to be shocked by any means if that happens or even doesn't happen for that matter. But, only time's going to tell. But I just have a feeling Miz is going to hold on to the Money in the Bank for a little while. Him and Morrison will feud over eventually, matter of when. Don't know, but matter of when they will, I think. And then Edge is going to be coming back. Okay, I'm sure he's almost cleared to return, if not already. Who knows? Hell, he might show up on Raw tomorrow night for all we know. I don't know. We get it early at Survivor Series, then we get a rematch at Royal Rumble, and then we get the rubber match between those two at WrestleMania, and then you put the title on Edge if you keep building him up in a return, because they faced off at WrestleMania, Last Man Standing, and then it was the greatest wrestling match, and of course Edge has been on the shelf injured ever since. It just makes sense. It honestly does. I just have a feeling that they're going to be going towards that direction, but we'll find out and see for sure eventually at some point. But Randy Orton, your new WWE champion, Miz, your new Mr. Money in the Bank. They're both on Raw, so keep an eye out, both Orton and Reigns, for Miz to cash in at some point, maybe, or even John Morrison if they go that route, or Morrison to turn on Miz once he becomes WWE champion, and then that's your championship feud. But to me, that just doesn't seem, especially if they do bring back Edge, like they'll have to figure something out from now until then to do, if they want to pull the trigger now or hold off and wait again, just because of the booking. But it'll always be interesting to see what happens. It always is, of course. That's pro wrestling for you. And that's why we got to sit down and tune in and watch. And thank you once again for tuning in and watching my live reactions play this evening. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT with Halloween Havoc. And then also next weekend as well with college football, Ohio State, Penn State. And then next Sunday, Steelers, Ravens. So, Hell in a Cell, I thought was a damn good show, honestly, tonight. I really enjoyed it. I was excited and intrigued to see what was going to happen. I was impressed. I honestly was. I thought it was a damn good show. Better than Clash of Champions last month, honestly. I don't like to rate it by any means, but if I had to rate it, I'd rate it hell over 10 for damn sure. Especially with Randy Orton becoming your new WWE champion. Now, I'm fine with either Orton or McIntyre as WWE champion. I honestly really don't care. I like them both. And McIntyre's held the title since April. So it was probably time to take the title off of him. And you kept building Orton up in the meantime, returning Legend Killer. Well, he's back, and he's your new WWE champion in 2020. So here we are. But, yeah, I just have a feeling the direction they're going to go towards. Miz, thinking about cashing in on either Orton or Reigns with Morrison by his side until they do something there. And then who knows what they'll do with Reigns for WrestleMania, as it's going to be here before we know it. But we got to get through the fall, of course, with the upcoming pay-per-views and then football season, and then Royal Rumble, and then on the road to WrestleMania before WrestleMania 37 next spring, I believe, at the end of March at this point in time. But I just have a feeling it's going to be Randy Orton Edge for the WWE title now. With Orton winning tonight at Hell in a Cell, it'll be Orton Edge at WrestleMania next year for the WWE Championship, which I think a lot of people would be excited for. I think a lot of people would be buying into that. That might even be the main event of the show next year, for all we know, unless The Rock returns and it's The Rock and Reigns. But we'll see. But Hell in a Cell tonight, I thought it was a damn good show. I honestly did. I mean, we had two unexpected title changes. One we knew probably was going to happen with Sasha. I still think Bayley should be champion, but she was champion for how long? Same thing with McIntyre. Like, it was time. So, excited to see what's going to happen from now until Survivor Series 2, and then on to TLC before we hit Royal Rumble and then the road to WrestleMania. And like I said, split second, blink of an eye. Mania 37 is going to be here before we know it, early next spring. And in the meantime, hopefully everyone's staying safe. Thank you once again for tuning in and watching this evening, all day long actually, with NFL Steelers Titans. Black and gold victorious over Tennessee, 27-24 once again earlier today. And then for WWE Hell in a Cell this evening. And once more, Randy Orton is your new WWE champion. So we'll have to see what the future holds for the Viper as your new WWE champ on Monday Night Raw, 14-time WWE champion now overall in his illustrious career. So be sure to tune in on Wednesday for more live reactions, play-by-play, AEW Dynamite, and WWE NXT with Halloween Havoc returning. Once again, thank you for tuning in and watching my live reactions play-by-play all day long this evening. Randy Orton, your new WWE champion. Congrats to the Viper, and Eventually we'll get a rematch, but I have a feeling, a very strong feeling, it's going to be Randy Orton Edge next year at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. The Viper, your new WWE Champion, defeating the Chosen One himself, Drew McIntyre, tonight in the Hell in a Cell main event inside Hell in a Cell. Randy Orton, once again, your new WWE Champion.